Oh, I'm gonna be.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again. What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, miss away, eat the yellow correct you. Use the youth, them money, waste and bust a man to statue. Say we like a catch you, but we got in a figure you. Take this print of money, God and say that is not you. One day the man above him up, him a got a break. But it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. When singers and DJs and such a need that's coming at you. It burn me 300% free. It burn me garbage pile up the day. It burn me give the teacher them raise. It burn me I see corruption fees. It burn me mash down the people them house. It burn me every day appear arms out. It burn me appear money them a thief. It burn me and them a sell out we beach. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again.
Wagwan family. Manners and respect over there, you know. Manners and respect in the Jamaican people. Yeah, man, we about Jamaican business. People, lie jail get busted. All the lies when them tell Jamaican people, remember they come out and say no new taxes? Did you remember that myth? No new taxes. You never know some Mark Golding. I got bust him out. Yeah, man, you never know some Mark Golding. Know nothing about the budget. But him should have known better than that. Them think them lie was gonna hold. And Mark Golding was gonna come out here, come tell them. People, them tax more than anybody else. On my platform, I come tell you, you know. But someone here, I laugh and I jeer, I look and I stare, like when I get it clear. On this platform, I come and tell you guys, say them are overcharged or no. On my platform, I say Jamaica people spend the most for food. When you come to Jamaica, we're coming out there with the US dollars. And we come out there to make sure so we have a good time and we don't run out of food. Buy food for the family and make sure so we're nice. If I'm on my yard, we make sure, say, boy, we got a supermarket and buy up the things for the yard. So we experience that. I will know so we care $200 and $300 got a supermarket in Jamaica. If you don't mind shop, a 2 bag will not care out a door back. Do you understand me? So that make me know say the weight of grocery is heavy on the Jamaican people. Because when I look at my family member and I say, look, I come from foreign. I'm going to spend a couple $100 US. And a few local bag me I hold in one of my finger them, a clutch in one of my finger them, I go home. When I use the same couple $100 and I go to Walmart, I have to get a shopping cart. But when I go to Jamaica, I use the same couple $100 to buy food. I just need one finger, the plastic bag or two. So right there, so you know, so Jamaican people are under pressure, but the man compare every day. I tell the Jamaican people, no man, you're all right. At the best time now, we spend the most. You're all right. Taking 300% raise, and I tell we say, Jamaica have the best COVID bounce back within the Caribbean. Fake reporting from Miami Herald about Jamaica are the financial superpower within the Caribbean. Anything to con the people and to rob them, to make them feel good like everything's okay. The lowest job employment rate, where is it? Show me. Show me any job employment rate, no low employment rate, people. Where's the employment rate low? The unemployment rate. Where's the low unemployment rate? Which part? You and I who go to Jamaica still hope a youth down there sit down, want work. You and I knows if there's any job to conduct in Jamaica, like enough of us have built house and property in Jamaica. If you tell anybody say you want somebody for work, do you get more man than anything else? You to come to you and ask you for work. But nothing but lies after lies after lies. No new taxes. I may step on my platform, go ask the taxi man them. Go ask motorists in Jamaica if them tickets price not gone up. Ask poor people in Jamaica if their food price not gone up. How about the gas price? How about electricity price? Everything not gone up. No new taxes though. No new taxes. I also tell on this platform that last year the government sucked out an extra 80 billion with a B in tax revenue from poor Jamaican people. They are overtaxed. We spend the most. Yes, we spend the most. We the taxpayers. They will go thief money from me. So last year, after them check them cash register, remember, if they were planning to make $100 billion for that tax year, they make an extra $80 billion. Do you ever say they plan to make only $100 billion to run the country and take care of stuff? They make an extra $80 billion. Where did they get that from? Where did an extra $80 billion in extra tax surplus pop up from? Where it come from? Nobody but you, the poor Jamaican people, who them are overtaxed. Let me explain it even better to you. If you was a cashier at the night time, at the end of your shift, you're checking off your cash, making sure all the I's were dotted and the T's crossed. And you come up with an extra $80 billion within your cash register. It means you've been ripping off your customer. You rip off somebody. If a cashier at the end of her shift come up with extra tax surplus like that, and you come up with extra money, it tell you that that cashier is ripping off customers, overcharging people. Well, it's the same thing when the government can find an extra $80 billion with a B in tax surplus. And I look on poor Jamaican people who can't buy food, pay light, gas, can't pay fare, can't pay the toll. And I said that, oh, no, not pay nothing. No extra taxes. I'm going to play some from Mark Golding today. I want you guys to listen. Some man, if you live up from boy, then I love the people. I pay like them, come tell the people of Jamaica. I'm going to play Mark Golding. I want you guys stick around. And we're going to listen to Mark Golding talk about taxes. We ain't talk about finances with money. Because I don't believe a liar organization. Many times I tell you on this platform, you know, come tell me lie and expect me to believe you. I do not believe a letter or number coming from this organization. They are crooked. I do not believe a number or letter coming from this organization. I believe they are crooked people. They are crooked. You see it. So let's see if we can listen to Mark Golding a little bit. Hold on, people. I want to make sure someone are listening. If you can hear him, tell me say yes in the comment section. If you can't hear me good, tell me say no. I'm not to sit up and say play something and not hear good. Me not in that. You not to hear it too. Just like me want to hear it too. So if you don't sound good, call us, you don't sound good. We not hear good. So we learning of people. My love, no. Listen this.
There are a few new ones, Madam Speaker, that emerged during the local government elections, like converting Clarkstown into a city and Portmore into Little Miami. Pie in the sky ideas masquerading as a vision of national development.
Listen.
We live in a country, Madam Speaker, where there is increasing doubt in the impartiality of our institutions, increasing reports of fear of victimization by Jamaicans not aligned to the government, entrenched apathy with Jamaican nationals losing hope, who feel there's no recourse, no justice, and no point in participating in the political systems or exercising their franchise. Clouds of uncertainty and concern regarding the rights and freedoms of Jamaican citizens on a range of issues from beach access right through to states of emergency. An absence of accountability for wrongdoers aligned to the government. The militarization of the constabulary. All of this is the manifestation of a tendency towards our autocratic rule that I've spoken about year after year, right here in this budget presentation. It's the untenable foundation upon which the country is being run. The main idea of this budget exercise was leveraging economic stability. But that is not something that the other side can claim ownership of. That was a seed that was sown and nurtured by the People's National Party while in government. After the utter chaos brought about by the JLP administration of 2007 to 2011. Let me remind you, since you keep bringing it up, during the 2007 to 2011 period, the JLP government had abandoned the IMF program in a wanton act of fiscal irresponsibility, leaving Jamaica on the edge of a precipice and staring at disaster. When coming to office in 2012, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller leveraged her many years of hard-earned political capital and laid it on the line to lobby the international financial community to give Jamaica another chance. This was only possible because of the sacrifices of Jamaican people who were willing to walk the walk because they trusted her not to sell them out. That is what saved our country from the ruin that the previous government had brought us to. We pulled the country out of the mire of fiscal irresponsibility. With Dr. Peter Phillips as Finance Minister and Portia Simpson-Miller as Prime Minister, the PDP administration of 2012 to 2016 steadfastly prepared the ground in which the tree of fiscal responsibility began to grow in Jamaica. We got the country's public finances back on track. We transformed the tax system. We implemented other critical structural reforms along the journey. Along the journey of getting our national debt under control. And in 2016, the JLP inherited that tree with its roots firmly already in place and already bearing the fruit of fiscal stability. This is the foundation of the 12 years of economic stability that Jamaica has benefited from up to today.
People, such man, I do not know people. I'm going to take them take. Such man can't show nothing what him do, people. Why, when you ask the labor right them, I mean, I labor right Virgin and sister too. When you ask what such man do in 8 years, then tell about road and house. When all of that come from the PNP, one of them, such boy, thank you, Andy Bryan, such boy, I forgot. Such boy. I forgot, man, chow. Such boy. So such boy built 200 houses in 8 years. Walking around, peel light and tell people they will clear the office. With the most PR stunt, giving away him look one house them. Just did a day we go see the man. I cut ribbon pan a standpipe. Want to know what a standpipe look like? We don't know what a standpipe look like. The man, they got tie ribbon on the head of a standpipe and got cut ribbon. People ever seen nobody cut ribbon pan standpipe? Or the man take the Jamaican people for idiots. Lying, we spend the most. And me I call it out and I say, people who don't see it. The healthcare mash up, teacher runway, crime and kill the police take vehicle and taxi guard work. He said people who don't see it. Garbage now pick up, everybody has strike, air traffic controller, NHT worker, immigration worker. So many people strike, even JIS workers who have more piece of the government. We just hear one of the latest one come out there, the funeral homes coming out there, blasting the government for over $100 million in Papa burial. When they tell we say we spend the most to justify the stealing of 300% raise. To justify, to cloud up a head, make it look like we are idiots. We don't have no sense. Make it listen what Marcus say.
So, we taught you about fiscal responsibility on which the economic stability is built. In that period, I was tasked with responsibility for delivering the extensive legislation that was required to achieve that durable fiscal stability. A modernized revenue system and the other basic building blocks of economic stability. It's the same tree of economic stability you are now shading under. We nurtured its early growth. We made sure there could be no turning back. We led the way on fiscal responsibility.
YouTube Music Premium lets you play over 80 million.
People, what do we hear the man say? Me want one of the guys to listen to this today. Because, Jaja, what a thing is that? What a thing. The lie them I tell people, I catch up with them.
You on the other side, on this side, mocked us while we were planting and nurturing that tree of fiscal responsibility. All you do is pass IMF tests, you said over and over. Do you forget? So don't lecture us on fiscal responsibility and economic stability. No Santi, no sing so.
People, all them time are such boy, sit down in there now. A boil up, you know. Have a very thin skin, you know. Such boy want to walk out the whole time, you know. Him not top. But I make the lies come out to the people. We don't hear no yet people. We don't hear the lies they've been telling us the whole time. They never know some Mark Golding come bust out them lie. You look a lie jail there. People them are killed with taxes, Jamaican people. Jamaican people, you are dying on the taxes. Them not care. While I was doing some research, I find out tape when Mark Golding I beg on a couple years ago. To give the people my break, tax break. Mark Golding I beg the Prime Minister. Ease up gas tax and all type of stuff in the people. Over the years, Mark Golding I tell the Prime Minister, choose piece something up there for the people. And the people must struggle. Help them out. No, Prime Minister, I want to pay off the debt. Yeah, man, busy I pay off debt. Why am I pay off debt for? To get a higher amount. You know, when you pay off a credit card, then you move from 500 to 750 to 1,000. Pay off your debt on time, you move to 1,500 and 2,000 on your card. Pay that off, your card go up to, you know, that's how you go, people. Oh, no, you are one. We see, such boy I try to do. I pay off debt. You don't understand me, I say. to get a higher credit limit off of the head of Jamaican people. Some people understand. They're not economists or not like that, but me read. And that's what I try to do, people. To get more money for borrow. Do you understand?
Took the hard decisions and implemented them. You inherited a situation that we had fixed here in Jamaica. And you have spent 8 years leveraging that hard work that we put in and the fiscal responsibility that we left. And that is the truth. We on this side have no plans to cut down the tree of fiscal responsibility.
Jaja.
It is a tree that I helped to plant and nurture with the work I did in that time. But we also, Madam Speaker, we also recognize that 2024, we also recognize that 2024 is not 2012. And the challenges and priorities are now different. Economic stability is not sufficient to meet the needs and expectations of the Jamaican people. We need Jamaica to shift gear to something much better than what is going on now. The people want to see real change. Jamaica now needs a government that can take the country on the road to change.
Gotcha.
You say you're leveraging stability for all the people. But I must ask you, which people? Workers who are reeling from the high prices that keep going up?
See that?
Farmers who are struggling with so many challenges? Civil servants, teachers and doctors who feel disrespected?
True.
What are you saying and what people are feeling just don't match up?
Hold on, people, before we go further. You see, while I give a presentation there, you know, such man they are bubble up and a boil up and all them things there. Well, me hear some people, me have something to say. And this is a Mark Golding. And the PNP party. People have been calling me and saying that the PNP tomorrow must boycott the presentation on Thursday. You guys listen what I say? We have a couple of friends who call me and ask when we think about that. And me have friends where personal friend who tell me say the PNP must go also. But I have a different take on that. You are not the same. You are not Riverton dump material. PNP must go to it and sit down. We need some more civility back in the House of Parliament. Decency, decorum. We can follow some Riverton dump material, all wild boar, Mr. get in a parliament, and they might run out wild boar. They might run out wild boar out of there when they don't a Riverton dump and dig up. I mean, I don't know what to do in a parliament. So I think the PNP should go. That's what we do. That's the type of Jamaica I want. So when this is going to stop? So next time PNP, I do something, the Labour right walk out. And when the Labour right, I do something, PNP walk out. And that's how it go, people. And that's how it go. The PNP must grind them teeth. Go sit down in the same way. Yeah, man, do the right thing, man. You are not them. Because if you don't show up tomorrow, what you did yesterday meant nothing. Do you understand what the callers are saying? Don't spoil up the momentum. The momentum is doing the right thing. Right? Them go on with the haga in a parliament. Mark came out a door, come address the people, finishing presentation out there to the people who we must serve. Right? So I don't believe the people who we must serve want to see him outside of parliament and such an important, like me. You must serve me. So I want to see you in a parliament, sit down with everybody in the PNP. You're bigger than that. Do you understand me? Be the bigger person, like Judge Riley said, be the bigger person in the room, and he is the bigger person. I understand my friends who calling me. People, it's when they're mad and you're angry sometimes. You just think about hurting back somebody and hurt them even hotter. Not true. And to hurt somebody even more hotter than how them hurt you, you have to go lower. That would be a low blow. Do you understand me? You didn't live right now about low blow. If man don't go to parliament tomorrow and the people, that would be a low blow. When they head hot sometime and chip because somebody hurt you and you're still hot about it. It will make you do things and say things that is not really you. But on a different note, we're dealing with country over man and party. I would like to see my grandpick them say a decent Parliament. My grandparents must can see an era after this. The opposition did went back in a Parliament, sit down in the decency, with integrity. Do you understand me, say people? When them go low, you know what? Go high. That's the level we want to go forward. It's a new day, a new sheriff in town. So I'm expecting Mark Golding to dress in a best suit, get up and take on a nice shower, lotion down on yourself, trip on yourself naked, lotion down yourself. Get the best cologne you got. Have a drink if you have to. Take a talk if you have to, Mr. Golding. Because I'm just going to relax, man, and listen to what I have to say. So someone, do you understand, Mr. People? Do you agree with me? you shouldn't be there. Why you shouldn't be there, Florence? I thought business am I doing, you know. But if him not go there, and feelings am I run. Go there for we. What such boy do are feelings. We don't want him follow that. So when something happen again and the PNP them have a presentation, what happen now? We want to liberate them come out of it. No. And this is not a personal stuff. What such boy do him take it personal? And what he did, he hurt us from getting the truth. Because most of us tuned in, waiting for this debate, you know. You have vloggers who are streaming to their people live. So while we were watching, waiting for Mark Golding's presentation, what they did, they cut it. Such man know that him have the power of majority. So he used that trick. Walk out, him lead the walkout. As a leader, he should have set a better example, family. Let's continue to listen, Mark Golding.
Benefiting from the stability that you say you are leveraging.
Listen.
If you look at the 24-25 budget, the picture becomes more clear.
Jaja.
Madam Speaker, in his opening budget speech last Tuesday, the minister announced a giveaway of $20,000 for employees and self-employed persons earning up to $3 million who are in the formal tax system. And he gave it the fancy name, reverse tax credit. He said that the objective is to incentivize on-time filing and paying statutory deductions. However, that objective is really questionable because to qualify for this, he says that you will have to become fully compliant for the 2023 tax year already gone by March 31, 2024. And that deadline is less than a fortnight away. Therefore, as a practical matter, it is most unlikely that anyone who is not already tax compliant will get the benefit. Furthermore, it is wishful thinking that a single payment of $20,000 would induce anyone who is now outside the tax system to take steps to bring themselves into it and start paying taxes.
Trick. Mark, I expose them nuns. Lie gel people. Trick yard man them. People, no new taxes, but everything will go up. No new taxes, but everything will go up. They find themselves with extra $80 billion in a tax surplus. Where them get it from? After you. No new taxes, man. Wicked. Take 300% raise and want to feel comfortable with that. No new taxes, guys. You know, since we're not charging the taxes. But I give people what $12,000 and $13,000 a month. What I can do when it comes to grocery a week, what I can do when it comes to grocery when you have fear and people send gas school, rent for pay, light bill, you know, wicked, take 300% raise. And if you move up, man.
It applies to persons below the threshold. The truth is that this so-called reverse tax credit smells like a $20,000 giveaway for political advantage as we get ever closer to the next general election. There's also another angle to it. The minister said that for an employee to be entitled to receive this reverse tax credit, his or her employer must have been fully compliant in making the statutory filings and payments for staff.
People want to hear the trick again. The trick yard, man. People just did a promise to lower the fare and JUTC in January. When they were promising to lower the fare come January, they never tell the people they need a smart card because they plan this new cashless stuff. Come January, and them know I trick the people, you know. People them a trick hard, man. And them disgusting, now have no shame. Disgusting people. Come January, man, the people don't find out that them need some new card and some smart card and all type of nonsense. So you would think so most of the people who would be qualified to get the lower bus fare, pay the lower bus fare, never benefit from the bus fare reduction because most people don't have no smart card. Tricks. They know say most people are Jamaican on a smart card. Who got smart card over there? How much of them have the smart card? How many Jamaicans have the smart card? They know what they are doing. Pay tricks in my paper. They have to move up. They don't love the people. That's why they want to stay dunce.
Reductions and employer contributions for 2023 by March 2024. Now I must ask the question, is this fair? How is it fair to an employee to deny him or her this little benefit in the event that the employer is not compliant with statutory filings and payments of deduction? Many businesses are now reeling from the increase in interest rates and are facing cash flow difficulties. So many of those employers may be behind in filings and payments of statutory deductions and employer contributions. The employee should not be blamed or penalized for that. Minister, an employer paying under 3 million to an employee, and the employee himself or herself should get this benefit, whatever the tax status of the employer.
People hear that? Government say they have a little tax break to give now. Can you imagine me I work on my job and Biden say I have a little stimulus money to give out? But my employer taxes have to be up first. What me as a worker have to do with my employer? Government go punish them and deal with my employer. If government say they have something to give people so they're wicked, I want to explain this thing to my people, show them wicked. You know? They don't think about sharing the bread. And them alone to get 300% raise and have 10 mansion, 150 trucks, mansion overseas, yacht, bank account hidden, and poor people can't get a piece of tarpaulin over your head. They might go say, they'll go 20,000 when you say light gel, say, I'm going to give the people. That all depends if your boss pay up in taxes. Jesus Christ, what a wicked set of people them here. You are come and work. Do you ask your boss if tax is okay? Good God, man. If you're going to help the people, help them. Don't trick them. What helping the poor have to do with their boss? So if the boss is not up on his taxes, or they will not get the $20,000. What a wicked set of people. You are Mark telling me. The wicked.
If you are on the system, you should get the benefit.
Yes.
In your estimate of $11.4 billion for this relief this year, you've assumed that 570,000 persons will be able to access it. So don't deny anyone the benefit on the grounds that their employer is delinquent. To do that would be simply unfair.
Wicked. Wicked people. You see man with sense here? Real leader will love the people. Them over there, people are pay a trick. They work on Jamaican people. People that don't want to do anything for you, they just want to reach. It's a wicked bunch. Wicked people. People, look at it good. The government said there's something to give the people to help out poor people. You have a 20 grand to run by the people. Now run it on them, man. We are trick them at about all depends on if a boss paying taxes to the government. Poor people are going to work every day. We're not busy with the boss finances, brother. Poor people are going to work every day. No business if a boss pay taxes or not. If you have a piece of bread to give the poor, give to the poor. On the wicked. On the wicked. On the go down heavy and hard. Because God not sleep. Because it is easier for a camel to go through the earth and needle and the poor man to go as Zion. It is easier for the camel to go to the earth and needle than the rich man to enter heaven. Go and run on the richest man. Wicked people.
Jamaica needs thoughtful governance.
True.
And that is why we are on the road to change. Madam Speaker, during the recent local government election campaign, the Prime Minister promised that the income tax threshold would be increased in what he said would be 1.5, 2.0. Last September, I had called for an increase of the threshold to $3 million. The purpose being to restore the real value, in real terms, of the 1.5 billion that was announced back in 2016, and to provide some buffer for future inflation. The fact is that since 2016, accumulated inflation in Jamaica is over 46% since 2016. And an increase is required to restore the real value of the threshold that was last reset back in 2016. After the Prime Minister's grand election pronouncement of 1.5, 2.0, persons are understandably quite disappointed that the minister has announced an increase of the threshold to only 1.7 million. That's $200,000. What they expected to be 2.0 million ended up being 0.2 million. And that translates to a mere $4,166 per month in benefit in their take-home pay.
Listen.
And Madam Speaker, I am told, I didn't check it myself, but you can check it if you like, that $4,166 can't even buy a bucket of KFC for a family looking to share and to have community with family and friends. Madam Speaker, if the minister had, as phase one of restoring the value of the 1.5, even increase the threshold to 2 million, that would give persons an additional $125,000 per year in their pockets, $10,400 per month in their take-home pay. And that would be a more meaningful benefit. Speaker, it could have been paid for by using the 11.4 billion that has been allocated to the one-time reverse tax credit. In getting to $3 million, as tax inflows continue to grow, the threshold can be adjusted again in the future in phase 2 and maybe even phase 3, depending how long it takes. So, Madam Speaker, Jamaica needs caring governance, and that is why we are on the road to change. I want to say something more about taxes. The minister likes to make a song and dance about no new taxes imposed since the last go-round of $30 billion in new taxes, which was...
Listen, a part are good enough. And this a part I want to be hearing. The man say, no new taxes. Want to remember that what I say? No people. We come out of Jamaica and we got a store hundreds of dollars just holding a one finger. You know, I want to plastic bag, maybe 2. Come back up for the same couple $100, require a basket. Let's listen.
Imposed in the first 2 years of the JLP government elected in 2016 to pay for the 1.5 thing. The promise had been at the time that it would pay for itself, but that wasn't so. They had to impose $30+ billion of taxes to pay for it. However, it is important to recognize that the taxes being collected from the Jamaican people have increased dramatically under this government. Dramatically. Have a look at that table. And you will see, in fiscal year 2015-16, which was the last year of the last PNP administration, the tax collected was $411.8 billion, which was 24% of GDP. This table shows how much more tax. This table shows how much more tax is being collected under the current JLP administration. Tax collected now has moved from 24% of GDP to 28% of GDP. A much bigger carving of the national pie is now being paid by the Jamaican people in tax.
People, you want to see them face in a parliament. So boy, sit down like you want to go toilet or sitting and bun him when you sit down pan. You want to bet when enough of them get up the spot wet. I like you over there crack face, because I figure it out. I didn't know I was going to figure it out. Peer scheme, peer trick them Jamaican people. We spend the most. Look, Jamaica, where it is. The budget will go up every year. Chill out, they reach now. We spend the most. The budget is the most. Jamaica people, wait I go. Most of the development of Jamaica are young youth out there try. People they are foreign. I build house and the youth them out there. I try upon them own. Most youth don't get no help from the government. So they see these people walk around Jamaica and talk about new house I build. And the poor Jamaica people with ambition. I put roof over them head. Them don't have no job at Jamaica as such to put roof over your head. Do you hear me? Let's continue.
Are taxed much more under this PLP government. That's just a fact. And look over the 4 years, the 4 fiscal years, 21-22 through 24-25, Madam Speaker. And I want you to listen to this. Tax collections have increased by $409 billion. That's the increase in taxes over 4 years. 419 billion of additional taxes have been collected from the Jamaican people over the last 4 years.
Want to hear that? Want to hear that? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm adding it all up, you know. I don't know about that $80 billion in the paper. When them collect off of uno, $80 billion in extra. People are grinding them up to dust. To pay them 300% raise. Wicked people. Nothing for you. But paying down the debts. So they are overtax the Jamaican people to pay down the debts. And I leave nothing in there for you. What a wicked setup.
It has expired.
How long it take?
Wayfair helps all of us create a home we love.
Wayfair brother.
How long it take to treat people in fast? Mark was that's where I get vote out.
Madam Speaker, members, Madam Speaker, members. Madam Speaker, I now ask that the standing orders be suspended to enable the member to continue his speech to its conclusion.
Question is that the member be allowed to continue his speech to conclusion. Those in favor? Those against, the ayes have it.
But she disappeared from the such boy wife disappeared from the bench. The seat where she in her. When she start blasting, I guess she walk out. Prime Minister wife, that's it. So I understand, so that's why there is conflict of interest, because if anybody talk against the speaker right before the Prime Minister, him go, why am I want to beat them up because you talk about his wife? What a thing.
Well, Madam Speaker, thank you for that. Thank you, colleagues. As I was saying, over the last 4 years, $419 billion of additional taxes have been taken from the Jamaican people. That is an increase of 66%, which is way more, in fact, more than double the accumulated inflation over those 4 years. Over those 4 years, 31% was the accumulated inflation. The tax has gone up by 66%.
Wow.
Tax collected. And looking at tax collection on a per capita basis, in other words, looking at tax collection from the perspective of each Jamaican, since this JLP government came to office, they have more than doubled the annual tax take from every man, woman, and child in Jamaica, increasing it by a massive $190,000 per person.
Jesus.
And it now totals $342,000 per person at the time of this current budget.
Let's say I mash up Jamaica. I'm telling you every day. You say I put him back on the plantation and talk about service industry, hotel and car centers. We used to have so much industry in Jamaica. Now we are servant again. Service. That's all this man I push while I put money in my pocket. You see this man are wicked people. People say this man are the wickedest leader we ever know in our lifetime. We continue.
Double the taxes they're taking from the people. So much for this no new taxes, thank you. It is irrelevant. No new tax types, but much more taxes. 28% of GDP in taxes relative to 24 back in 2015-16. And as the recent election shows, who feels it knows it.
Never read this. We come from Florence Hamilton. See it up on the screen. I didn't know that the opposition could turn off such man. For he says when he is ready, he can turn it up. No, Marky, lock him off. That's a good one, family.
Madam Speaker, Jamaica really needs honest governance.
True.
And that is why we are on the road to change.
Yes.
The minister says he's going to take away the protection that our farmers have enjoyed.
Listen to this.
By removing GCT from the importation of raw produce.
Listen to this, man.
He says that Jamaica is on the cusp of being blacklisted by the World Trade Organization, the WTO, if we continue to protect our farmers. Well, based on our research, the WTO does not blacklist or unilaterally punish member states for non-compliance. Instead, an agreed member state must first enter into consultations with a non-compliant member state to seek changes on the particular measure that they are complaining of, or to win concessions before requesting the establishment of a panel to settle the dispute. The panel will thereafter issue a report, which can subsequently be appealed before the WTO's appellate body. The minister really therefore needs to state whose bidding he is doing by removing this GCT that was in place to protect our farmers. In recent years, the tensions in US-China relations, the Russia-EU sanctions resulting from the war in Ukraine, and so on, have adversely affected the workings of the WTO. For some time now, the WTO has not had a functioning dispute settlement mechanism since the US decided not to appoint members to the appellate body. And furthermore, the recently concluded MC13 meeting of trade ministers in Abu Dhabi, a number of critical issues were left unresolved. Reforms in the dispute settlement mechanism and so on, including subsidies in agriculture and fisheries by developed nations, and other long outstanding issues for the benefit of small and vulnerable economies like Jamaica. In this context, we must question why the minister finds it necessary to proceed down this path instead of entering into negotiations with whichever party is agreed. We don't know who it is, as provided for under the WTO rules. The minister was also vague on the scope of this announced measure. What exactly are the imported raw food items for which GCT will be removed? I note that under the GCT Act, 3rd Schedule, Part 1, Paragraph 6, the category of raw foodstuff is extremely wide and specifically includes fresh fruit, vegetables, ground provisions, legumes, onions, garlic, meat, which is a very wide category, poultry, and fish. The removal of this protection leaves our farmers very exposed to unfair competition from importers who have little risk. We know that the rich countries of the world, North America and Europe, provide massive subsidies to their agricultural sectors, distorting fair competition and giving food imports from those countries an advantage over our producers here in Jamaica. Over the past 15 years, food imports into Jamaica have seen a steady increase, reaching over $1.4 billion in 2022.
Remember, I tell you upon my platform that politicians themselves have importation license, importing food in the country. And if politicians are importing food in the country, what good is going to be there for them to push farming? Didn't I tell them my platform, politicians also have water trucks selling water to the citizens? What the good is it going to be for the politician if they bring water pipes to the people? They also tell you that politicians are into funeral homes. Where's the benefit for politicians if they make everybody live? I also tell you that politicians are into outside medical labs with MRI machine and CT scan. If all these politicians are hustling, why would they bring it to the people, bring this lab in the hospital? You see all them wicked people? Let's continue.
According to Statin, in contrast, our agricultural exports lagged far behind at a mere 273 million US dollars in that year. And this is a trend, and it underscores the vulnerability of local food production. Local farmers already contend with high overhead costs, including GCT and various inputs that they use, farm supplies, which producers in other countries do not face. Jamaican farmers have other disadvantages, including their small scale, relatively speaking, reliance on rainfall rather than irrigation systems for many farmers, and limited access to mechanization and financial resources. In 2022, loans allocated to farming operations amounted to a mere 146.3 million Jamaican dollars. That's all. The removal of GCT on imported foodstuff will worsen this imbalance between locally produced and imported foods. It is likely to adversely impact the sector and the livelihood of farmers while undermining rural communities, who are the breadbasket of our country. Only last year, we saw how onion farmers in St. Thomas were hurt badly when import permits were granted to importers and flooded the market with foreign onions, leaving our farmers with produce that they could not sell.
Didn't I tell you about that on my platform? About the people in St. Thomas who the government encouraged to plant. When the people plant them onion, these wicked guys, look at them as shipping onion, shipping cheap stuff and the people them. Stuff not good enough. Stuff that is poisonous to Jamaican people, you know. Killing the farmers, them no care about people. Everybody must come under them pressure. Everyone in Jamaica feel it. And mash up, all agriculture mash up, you know. All agriculture never mash up, you know. No youth no want to farm because of the foreign stuff I kill them. Just the other day, a pig farmer called me and said, Carlos, me can't sell, me hog them. Yesterday, I also see it in my comment section. Someone said, Carlos, me can't sell, me swine them. The importation of hogs in Jamaica. They might import pigs in Jamaica, pig meat in a container, chicken. You name it, people. Foreign laba. Spoil sitting with no good. Dash was sitting over here, so Jamaican catch them over here, so for 50 cents a pound and send it go back to Jamaica. Go get it what? Swine them. That's why it's a chicken back head up of a place. That's how I am. Certain type of things they know so when not true. Let's continue. The wicked man.
Last year, in removing the GCT on the imported produce, nothing has been put in place to protect our farmers from the wave of imports of produce that will now come into the market without paying GCT. And there's a common theme here, Mr. Speaker. When I was in St. Elizabeth recently, the fishermen were complaining bitterly that they cannot sell their lobster because big players are supplying the market at low prices and squeeze.
I want to hear what I go on here. Them are people, and look here, such man and them people now coming to parliament, come member no fish people, you know, and a lobster people and a farmer. They don't remember no man. They will go through some big words and some sweet things to make the farmer feel good. They not talk about reality. If you notice Mark attack, even in a sweet argument for making them feel good and all type of nonsense, he might not speak the thing better. He might do no low blow and a low punch in a conversation. Like no schoolyard nonsense. He mean business. All lobster, me never know that. Lobster. Fisherman, no lobster pot under threat too. By this a wicked government. Me say, man, oppressing the people. Demolition, man. You got to go. You got to go. You should step down and resign. How are you, sir, man?
Them out. Their MP is the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries.
Listen.
They are suffering.
You hear that?
The government is letting them down badly,
Listen,
and it's a crying shame.
come, I got you. So feeling I suffer. I let them know.
Mr. Speaker, there's also the critical necessity for transparency in the allocation of these permits for imported foodstuff
Listen,
to ensure that there's proper consideration for local production capacity and to eliminate the possibility for nepotism, cronyism, and other forms of corruption. And we all hear who the major importers are. Jamaica Agricultural Society, the JAS, was apparently not consulted before this measure was announced by the minister, which in itself is an egregious example of arrogant and uncaring government.
you are one?
We have to ask who benefits from this. Certainly not the farmers. So who? We have consulted with the farming community, and a raft of measures have been developed that can mitigate against what could turn out to be a very serious and prejudicial action if the farmers of Jamaica are to get a fair deal. The ideas have been proposed simultaneously to remove GCT from farm input supplies, including essential planting materials like seeds and farm tools and equipment to incentivize local producers and strengthen their sustainability.
Nah, do that, man.
Could rem-
Only Chinese are get tax break people and duty-free imports. And then friend them. Only them money get tax break and duty-free imports. You understand me? I say the waiver. All the rich people get that, man. The poor people who really need it to come up, not getting it. Them people are wicked, man. Them people must not show no mercy, man.
From local food imports, local food products, such as table eggs, to make them affordable and stimulate demand and push local production. We must enhance transparency, as I've said, in food imports. We can make the grant of import permits subject to parliamentary scrutiny and approval, requiring that import permits must be allocated on an equitable and transparent process, such as a public auction. And Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, until protective measures like these are put in place and are working effectively, replace the GCT on import foodstuff with a stamp duty on imported foodstuffs to level the playing field between imported and locally produced food. We need to discourage over-reliance on food imports. It takes a little care to find solutions, some empathy and some will. Jamaica needs open, prudent governance. That's why we are on the road to change. Mr. Speaker, the minister announced various tax breaks for the coming fiscal year, totaling $25.12 billion. Many, no doubt, expect that these tax breaks will be an annual cost to the budget going forward. However, the minister has not provided the country with any clear and sustainable plan to finance these tax breaks in future years. To the contrary, we were told by him last Tuesday that this $25.12 billion, the annual cost of these measures, is to be entirely paid for in the coming fiscal year by a one-off securitization of some receivables. He has not said what those receivables are.
Chickeny.
And when I asked him about this after his speech, his response to me was, information is market sensitive. Mr. Speaker, this is totally unacceptable. The country must be told exactly how these tax breaks are to be financed.
People are paid gin and ship, like gel and such boy I play upon we. I'll be a lie, them I tell we, you know. People will not believe a letter or a number coming from them, you know, people. Them wicked, you know, people. When the right time come, mercy must not be shown to them, you know, people. They never show no mercy to we. They must mash up the country. Such man start with Siaga left off. Siaga thing was to mash up Jamaica, you know. Do you hear me say? All right, let's continue.
Fiscal year and thereafter, the public may well be asking, what is a securitization of receivables? Simply put, It is a transaction where the government raises money now by selling sources of revenue that will be earned in the future. This means that a future government will not have access to those sources of revenue because they will have been sold now. And this government will have sold them off to fund its budget this year, leaving the cupboard dry. So who is benefiting from this? We want to know. Minister, the current March 15th deadline for filing income taxes and other returns is pretty rough on everyone who has to file taxes.
Listen.
Getting the past year's accounts audited and then preparing the tax returns all by the 15th March is really too much of a crunch. An April deadline would ease pressure significantly, and it's time for change. Other countries have later deadlines, and it helps with their budgeting and their financial planning. So why not take a leaf out of their book? It would give taxpayers who file more time to get their taxes right and would improve the accuracy of their tax filing. It also improves compliance by allowing a more reasonable deadline. It would be a step towards a stronger and more stable economy. Mr. Speaker, the minister was on board with this idea back in 2022, but we're now in 2024-25, and he has become very silent about it since then. I think it's high time that we see some action on this, Minister, and I hope that you will see your way to doing it. Mr. Speaker, on several occasions, including in my budget presentations in 2021, in 2022, and in 2023, I called for the total removal of the requirement for guarantors to access a student loan. The data I had seen when I was chairman of the Public Accounts Committee showed that the collection from these guarantors was minimal in the scheme of things. And there was evidence to show that the requirement to provide guarantors made student loans inaccessible to many students, in particular students from low-income families. That is why I repeatedly called for the requirement of guarantors to be abolished overall. I'm therefore happy that the minister has finally heeded that call and removed the requirement of guarantors of student loans for everyone. So, Speaker, it is yet another example of how good things happen when this government listens to the opposition. And it shows how much better things will be when the opposition becomes the government.
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here.
Reminds me of my call in last year's budget a year ago for an increase to US $150 in the duty-free allowance for online shoppers, for which a minister later adopted in part when he announced the increase to $100 US at the JLP conference in November. Mr. Speaker, Jamaica needs change in the current approach to economic development, and that is where I'm going to move to now. In the just completed local government elections, the Prime Minister argued that the people must not vote with their emotions. He said they should pay attention to all the positive macroeconomic indicators that mean things are good.
Listen.
He said they should hold on and stay the course,
Listen.
because Jamaica will soon take off. But the people showed with their votes that they are not convinced. They are not convinced because the economic model of this government benefits too few people. Indeed, the people cried out with their ballots that a better way exists and that better must come. Under the current socio-economic model being pursued by this government, inequality of wealth and income will remain entrenched in Jamaican society. Jamaica is 99th in the countries of the world in terms of commitments to reduce inequality, according to Oxfam. In the 2022 World Inequality Index, The wealth gap in Jamaica was shown to be as wide as in Haiti. In Jamaica, the top 1% controlled 20% of national wealth, and the top 10% controlled 50% of national wealth. The Jamaica Survey of Living Conditions 2021, which is the most current available to us, says that there has been an upward movement in both poverty and inequality under the JLP government. And it says, and I'll quote, the prevalence of poverty increased to 16.7% from 11% in 2019. And that inequality increased with the Gini coefficient, and that is the standard measurement of inequality, at 0.3991, up from 0.3671 in 2019. So I wonder, where in this economic performance has there been any leveraging for the people?
None. You lie, Mr. Man.
With inflation running hot and the cost of living increasing by 30% since then, the situation, no doubt, the situation remains dire now. In short, the people are feel it, the way your government are deal with it. Announced that GDP per capita in Jamaica is now $7,000 US.
Listen.
He didn't mention that GDP per capita data doesn't show inequality. He didn't mention that poverty is 4 times the rate of unemployment in Jamaica.
Wow.
He didn't mention that Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, and Guyana are all at around $20,000 US per capita compared to Jamaica's $7,000. For Jamaica to move our GDP from 7,000 US, where it is now, to 20,000 US over the next 15 years would require an annual real GDP growth of at least 7%.
Is a Nigerian clerk coming and tell all a bunch of liars to sit with numbers. If you guys are marking numbers, man, you must think they had done such boy you might deal with. Such boy, I don't know them things, you know. And such boy, I mean, look here, sometimes people come and say, call us and this and that, but look here, respect goes where respect comes from. There are others who say, Carlos, respect the office. The office is just a building, people. I respect the man in the office. I don't respect no building, no monuments, no statue, none of that. You respect the man in the building. So if the man in the building is garbage, why should I respect the office? Me hear people say that all the time, respect your office, respect the office. But what is in the office is garbage. So I'm going to respect the office that is filled with garbage. Things must make sense around here. Okay?
Per year. I'm going to repeat that. For Jamaica to get our national GDP per capita from 7,000 US, where it is now, to 20,000, which is where Trinidad, Barbados, and Guyana, over 15 years, it's going to require an annual real GDP growth rate of at least 7% per annum. Until we start to put things in place to achieve that level of inclusive, sustainable growth, the talk of prosperity is a deception and an illusion. Mr. Speaker, there is a concept called economic complexity, which measures the extent to which knowledge drives high value added economic activity in a country. It's a strong indicator of a country's capacity to achieve higher levels of economic growth. It measures essentially the sophistication of the economy and the linkages within it, using knowledge to drive economic output. There's a chart. I don't know if it can be brought up. There it is. Thank you. Now that chart shows a comparison of 3 countries, and it's taken from the Harvard Economic Complexity Ranking. And it compares economic complexity trends in Jamaica, in the Dominican Republic, and in Costa Rica. And if you look at it, Jamaica is at the bottom on the right. And Jamaica's descent between 2010 and 2021 is indicative of our failure to build a model of socio-economic development that can transition us from a raw materials and raw services economy to one of a different level of sophistication, producing high value added goods and services. Mr. Speaker, under the current model being pursued by this government, inequality of wealth and income will remain entrenched in Jamaican society for years to come. We must transition Jamaica from a low-wage, low-tech, low-growth economy to one that achieves high levels of inclusive, sustainable growth that can meet the needs and aspirations of our people.
That's what I want.
This is a clear metric telling us that change is not only required, but urgent. We on this side are not deceived. We are on the ground where the people are feeling the pressure. Even though this government likes to tell the people to take responsibility for their actions, it is not very good at taking its own advice. Though the world has moved on, they are still stuck in this trickle-down neoliberal economics, where support is given at the top of the economy and people must wait for prosperity to trickle down to them. That model...
You remarks a while ago. And that them do people. In the raise there, they would have said, give raise. The top policeman them, the man them wear a certain type of a palette. Them man they get big raise. Education. The people who are upset sit down, they don't in a school, them sit down upset in one room, AC somewhere. They're in front of it. In education, those are the people who get raised. Healthcare. Some people upset the big one when the AC will push the pen. Them not in the hospital take care of patients. Those are the people who get raised. I want you to understand the raise what happened there, you know. That type of raise is called divide and conquer. You take care of the top man them first, you control them. Now they are working for you. If them little people down at time don't behave themselves and talk about them gonna strike again, well, I give you enough money up top for you to address this situation. That was the raise them give the other day, the people. I want you guys to understand the type of raise when them selling. When them selling give teacher raise and nurse and all that. It's only the teachers that were not in the classroom. Big people, executive, and them get raised. Police, same way. The bottom feeder, them not get paid. And the big man, them. Healthcare, same way. Divide and people may say them wicked. Them wicked, this man come from mash up Jamaica. Me the first man we call it out, you know. It wasn't so popular when I call it out. When we first came out and said Andrew is a poison to Jamaica, it wasn't something popular to say. But I placed it on my Facebook page in the form of a blog anyway. Listen.
On low wages. That model thrives on low levels of education.
Yeah.
It pushes people into things like scamming. It pushes people into hustling for a living.
Talk, bro.
It causes hard-working and unemployed people alike to rely on remittances from their family abroad.
People, a long time I want to hear somebody talk like this. They want to chat like me and Uno. Just like my brother and my sister and them that call me sometime about the concern of Jamaica. And them things I never talk about. Such boy not talk like this. A pure style and profile and PR stunt and lies. We have already this, we have already that. And we can't answer what I'm saying, man. We got this, we got that. We can't answer. Talk to like you have sense, man. We want a leader who talk to like you have sense, like we hear this brother talk to me. Talk to we can understand. Hot shot leader. I walk on a alligator shoes and snakeskin purse and Gucci suit and Italian suit. And move up for you, sir. That's all we get from black leaders. And keep the people poor. Most black leaders are criminals from Caribbean to Africa.
Forces people to migrate.
Listen.
If we are exporting our skills, what are we left with?
Yeah.
It depends on people being deceived. But we are not deceived, and we are not the deceivers. Mr. Speaker, it is now quite clear that there's nothing in the minister's budget presentation that suggests that this government has a coherent strategy for achieving a turnaround of that chart. As I have said, wild campaign promises like converting Clarkstown into a city
Listen.
are mere pie-in-the-sky ideas masquerading as a vision of national development. I will now present some elements of our comprehensive holistic plan.
People, when I talk like that, and such boy sit down in there, you know, such boy want to get up long time. My masquerading. people, such boy did I listen. A long time in blood, that boy I want to get up, you know. Look go on, listen, Marky G.
For sustainable, inclusive development of Jamaica and our people. Some of the plans for the next Jamaican government that we will form on the road to change. Mr. Speaker, since I last addressed this honorable house in a budget debate, we have been progressively developing our plans for Jamaica, and they are grounded in our core beliefs of social justice, equality of opportunity and access, and good governance. Last year, in my contribution to this debate, I spoke about some of the prevailing challenges that were at the forefront of the minds of the Jamaican people. Constitutional reform and the need for government with integrity were areas that I emphasized. We call upon the government to repair the breach with regard to the expectations of Jamaicans concerning land, education, security for our people, social transformation, health, energy, and food security. We remain true to those core tenets of national development strategy. I was both tactical and practical when I named our new shadow cabinet. I designed a governance structure that is fit for purpose, creating 4 new policy clusters, bringing a solutions-oriented approach to the changes that we need to see in this nation. Then, in preparation for the local government elections, we laid out our agenda for change at the community, divisional, and municipal level. The people of Jamaica responded positively to change and the change agenda on the 26th of February. That plan, as I've said, is now going to be put in action, and we're putting in place a monitoring and evaluation mechanism to drive that change. That's right. At the national level, our policies and programs must be consistent with the core values of our party: social justice, inclusion, transparency, and as I've said, a commitment to greater equality. We have crafted a raft of practical measures and a national change approach, and it emphasizes communication, care and culturally sensitive implementation, honesty and openness, accessibility and inclusiveness, new policy approaches, good governance, and engaging and empowering all our people. Change. Today I'm going to share a selection of some of those measures, and they stand on 2 pillars: the economic model of the next PNP government and our grounding in and commitment to good governance. The time has come for us to center the needs of the people in a transformational economic model. The time has come for broadening the wealth and ownership base of the society to tackle the chronic scourge of inequality. We must do what is required for high levels of inclusive, sustainable growth to meet the needs and aspirations of our people. The emphasis on inclusive and sustainable growth is important. The fruits of economic expansion must be equitably shared across the society. For real. And the investments must be compatible with our natural assets to preserve our environment for the benefit of future generations. Jamaicans are not interested in economic stability that only trickles down into low growth and diminishing prospects. We want to be able to afford an education, get a decent job, or build a thriving business, and own a home. Yes. And that's why we must transition Jamaica from a low-wage, low-tech, low-growth economy. We have to transition from an excessive dependence on remittances to earnings from high-valued exports of goods and services. We must give persons, people, alternative to unlawful economic activities. Indeed, the structure of our economy must nurture public safety rather than criminality.
Talk boss. People, every chance the man get the man lick out against criminality and corruption and all them things there, you know. Totally anti-corruption. People, they say if the country get rid of corruption, the problem is over, you know. We can't go back home. Corruption is Jamaica's biggest problem. Crime, Carlos, crime. It is the corruption that breeds crime. If we get rid of corruption, Jamaica will be better. Lower corruption, people. It's bad. We have no more tolerance for it.
Everyone must understand that they have a role to play in making a Jamaica that is a nice place to live.
Tell me about it.
This means people must pay their fair share of taxes. And the government must be accountable to the people because it is spending the people's money. Spending must prioritize access to basic needs, giving people an opportunity for entrepreneurialism to thrive, giving people an education from which they can create new ideas and opportunities, and nurture our indigenous talents. The type of transformation that Jamaica needs will require investment in its people and in possibilities for the people. Mr. Speaker, the major impediments to Jamaica achieving high levels of inclusive, sustainable growth include a failing education system and a training system that is not fit for purpose, which contributes both of those to Jamaica's low national productivity. High levels of violent crime, high electricity costs that undermine the competitiveness of our economy, and insufficient economic diversification that would increase our resilience to the growing threats from climate-related and other external shocks.
People, I just want to pay attention to the different language that Andrew Onis over Mark Gold that use, and you know the type of bossy speech where such man are given all them things. Then just listen to the man talk when the man talk. Listen to two different language. Don't blow no smoke up, man. Just tell me the truth, man. All Andrew do blow smoke up people tailpipe. Nah, tell you the truth. I sing some local stories when they know say him run out a lie one day. Every day about wolf, wolf, wolf. One day when the wolf come, nobody now believe you. Till the wolf, everybody find out say a liar now.
Mr. Speaker, none of these challenges can be successfully tackled if we do not address the prevailing failures of governance in the country.
Listen.
Until the systems of governance are accountable, transparent, and participatory, dog, nyam will suffer.
You remember a while ago? All the beautiful stuff him telling a while ago. Dog and nyam will suffer. You might tell us some other thing I'm go down to the corruption too. Good governance, people. Transparency, accountability, good governance. Other topic then depend now. Transparency, accountability, and good governance. Because remember I tell you about this country there. What they did first was get rid of corruption before they get the economy good. You can't build a house on a weak foundation. You can't build prosperity on a crooked, corrupt foundation. Do you understand me? What Singapore did was get rid of corruption, then the economy took off. Listen, Mark Golding.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that all of us as Jamaicans are responsible for creating the Jamaica we want to see and establishing a liberty of the Jamaicans we want to be. That is why our focus is social cohesion and empowerment. This portfolio cluster will focus on transformation, productivity, and access by addressing the ways in which health and wellness, social transformation, social protection, gender, young people and civil society, persons with disabilities and other marginalized groups will not only be engaged, but energized and empowered. Human capital development is highest on our list. what we mean when we say we put the people first. It is what we say when we believe in people power and we balance the books while balancing people's lives. Mr. Speaker, the next PNP government is committed to implementing measures to ensure that Jamaica's human capital has the capacities and skills to participate competitively in a high value-added economic environment, which can support the required investments that build that environment and deliver high levels of inclusive, sustainable growth. The crisis in education and training must be tackled and overcome if this is to be achieved. We see education in a holistic way. The education system should be socializing our people towards the kind of society we want to live in. 100% literacy and numeracy must be the target for national transformation.
Yep.
And there is food insecurity in Jamaica, so we cannot avoid dealing with children's nutrition. The system must invest in teachers, as well as infrastructure and technology, and in supporting services for parenting. We feel no shame about the fact that the majority of our students speak Jamaican, the Jamaican language first, and we think it should be central to how they learn to speak English and other subjects. As Professor Don Robotham recently put it, we must meet our children where they are and teach English as a foreign language it is to many of them. Though we must prioritize the early childhood and primary school system to raise standards there, especially in basic literacy and numeracy, we also believe in tertiary education. And we also believe that education must be lifelong to address gaps and reskilling at the adult levels. In the areas of education and training, these are some of our proposals. We will make investments in teacher training and in teacher compensation, in infrastructure and technology, and in support services for parenting. We will expand and improve the school feeding program to ensure adequate and proper nutrition.
My goal is to fix up the school feeding program. Or we can put it up back to the school and be turned into a food bank. I hope Jamaica can find itself at a place again, where schools become food bank once more. But every now and then, parents get local food, kids get local food, so go home to their parents. I would like to see the uniform material again. There are a bunch of parents out there who still want the help. Would I love to see that again? The library bus them. Would I like to see that again? Education, training center, community centers open up again throughout the country. Would I like to see that again?
To ensure adequate and proper nutrition and to encourage school attendance. We will prioritize the early childhood and primary school system to raise standards, eliminate the major existing literacy and numeracy deficits, because our goal is for Jamaica to have the best early childhood and primary school system in the hemisphere. We will put emphasis on STEAM education across the education system. We are not just going to focus on a few institutions when the system as a whole is deficient in STEAM education. And we will provide one full scholarship for the first child per family for a university degree.
Jaja. Jaja. Hear that? Think about the people, man. You'll be all right.
And we will remove taxes from laptops and tablets for students.
People get so they labor, they must say, how Mark I go pay for all this? When the criminal them take 300% raise. They must say, how he must pay for all of this? When they take the money and put in a Bustamante statue, Niggle sign, Montego Bay sign. He must say, how he must pay for all of this? when they take the money put on Grand Gala the other day, millions. They might ask him, how am I pay for all of this? When they take the money dash on a DPP office, refurbishing. People say, how am I pay for all of this? When they might come out, come tell you it's a new parliament building. They might ask, how we going to pay for this? When they take billions of dollars with a new money. So you see, them go keep people, they don't care for we. They don't rather waste the money. But if they put it in the youth them life, they rather dash it away. Such boy have an agenda. The same agenda where Siaga did have. And me at the first we tell the whole of you say, such man come to take up a Siaga, put down. You come to finish where Siaga start. Grind out the country. What the Jamaican people do this man? The man grow poor and well can remember the poor. What a wicked man, boy, man. And what can do the country so? No one of them are telling Mark Golding say, we're gonna see he's telling the people all this thing that he's gonna do. But if I stop take the money, Jamaica people have it. How many times I listen to Joseph Patterson? UIC. I know things me learn from Joseph Patterson, you know. The sign was stronger and go out there. But I and my platform, not gonna lie, I know things Joseph Patterson open our eyes to. And these are the things I'm always say. Joseph Patterson, Jamaica have the money to become one of the best countries in the world. But if they have $200 billion missing out of the country annually, 200 billion. It was Joseph Patterson who first told me that from the UIC, that $200 billion would have be is disappearing from Jamaica through mismanagement, misappropriation, and corruption. Every year, imagine Jamaica start losing $200 billion to thief-free. But they must say, well, Mark Golding going to get the money to help the youth then. We might get the money to make our life better. But I'm sure Mark now go in there. Go wear no goddamn alligator shoes. His wife now go wear run no goddamn snake skin purse. Mark now get up every day in that goddamn Italian suit and the people them. Mark now go build a 17-bedroom mansion on the back of poor people. Mark now go have work of property in Jamaica and how much truck in our backside mine. Eh? That's a black man trait. From the Caribbean to Africa. That's a black man trait. As them coming up power, they want to take them a rock star. They take them the Kardashians. They don't care for the people. They're greedy, heartless. No mercy for the merciless. Let's continue with this conversation.
Ensure that every teacher has a laptop. And for our teachers, we'll provide them with student debt. For our teachers, we will provide them with student debt reductions and motor vehicle concessions, which increase with their years of service in the system.
I never hear that, people. I just did anyone, young teacher tell me, you know. So this administration take with them years of service. Teacher and nobody, they'll slap them, won't beat them up. Take with them years of service. They don't remember them. Teacher will never hear this from the JLP party. Teacher will never hear this kind of argument coming from such man. Not even a word about your years of service. They just take it away. Wicked people, them man.
We will provide teachers with enhanced access to National Housing Trust loans and priority in housing allocations in NHT finance schemes. We will provide teachers with a package deal to be negotiated by government for free internet access as a tool of trade. And for young people, we will incentivize our youth to invest in their education by capping their monthly student loan payments at a reasonable percentage of their actual income. So that in times when the borrower, the student or former student is not working, those payments are deferred and tagged to the back end of their loan without them incurring extra interest or penalties. We will reinvigorate and repurpose HEART to be a major player in a wider project to prepare our workforce for the current and emerging employment opportunities of the 21st century, including by building training partnerships with the private sector. Mr. Speaker, our nation's training capacity must be as relevant and fit for purpose as possible in a rapidly evolving economy that we must build. We will create a series of workforce development training partnerships with the private sector. And the objective is to develop a competitively market-driven approach to training our workforce. This market-driven approach leverages the training capacity of all of the public sector and private tertiary education and training institutions. The objective is to increase the national capacity to deliver a transformational impact to the economy through an upskilled workforce in the shortest possible time. We will welcome the participation of trade unions and employer associations in these partnerships. We need all hands on deck to transition our economy.
So somebody say the JLP was formed to tear down Jamaica. Force them back. People need to pay attention to them argument, you know. Ubuntu. The JLP was formed to tear down Jamaica. You need to figure out the origin of the JLP party. When you figure out where Siaga come from. And when him dead, even the Liberate them know him. And even his death, them lie to the people. So them have him body in a Jamaica, buried in a Jamaica now. Drive around, empty casket went to Jamaica. This administration take millions of taxpayers' money. Just like when you have a death, fly down and storage and drive around, whatever cost that is on a daily. That's the type of money the government took from taxpayers. This is what we want to know. Where the money they go? Since Siaga never come to Jamaica. Since the body didn't have to go back on a morgue every night, and then the next day them drive around Jamaica with him. Since they never have a hearse, a morgue company that is taking care of the dead while they drive around Jamaica, where all that money went to, that on a claim on a pay to the morgue. Me talk about Siaga's death. Labor right to the comment. Did you see Siaga in the casket in Jamaica? You saw the coffin, don't you? So who get all the money? Because if that is in real life, people, you'd have to take the body back to a morgue, don't it? Every night, right? And the morgue people them around it to make sure so the body is up to date, don't it? So you consider that them have a pay Edward Siaga that you know, you get the best funeral home to take care of him. The empty box. So you're paying these men for an empty box. You're paying a funeral home who there's nobody to take care of. So even them dead, them lie to Jamaica people. Jaja.
To high value added goods and services. Mr. Speaker, HEART will support private sector-led investments in training by matching grants of up to 50% of the cost of any employer-identified third-party delivered training program that improves the performance or well-being of the employer's staff.
People adapt to want. Give the employer incentive. We make the youth them life better. So the local youth them work at them local job. And even though the pay might be cheap on the bars, I put it on the education a step on up. People at them a level of thinking they want. And I want to know, say, we will be holding my Golding accountable also, people. Yes, people. Me I now shut. Promises don't make me strip off my clothes and go dance upstairs. You know, works up, people. We're glad for the promise and it's the right concept for the country. But you need to get team to get there. So if I don't have to get off on the rear and go vote. Come on and play this year. Grand pick me and talk about no people. We're tired of the sweet talk and the, you know, we're tired of that, man.
This approval would be automatic up to an amount equal to 90% of that employer's and employees' annual contributions to HEART. And if the need is larger, then it can be approved on the basis of some clear, established, and transparent priorities. We will provide incentives to encourage employers to establish internship programs that build the needs of their businesses and industry with course offerings of tertiary and skills training institutions. We will utilize school infrastructure, which is often, when outside of school hours, insufficiently used. We'll use school infrastructure to enhance training both to school children and surrounding communities. We will entrench civics education as a core subject in the national curriculum. It has started, we will entrench it to equip our students for actual and productive citizenship with an understanding of the Constitution, an understanding of their rights, their responsibilities as citizens, and social skills based on wholesome values and attitudes. We will build, Mr. Speaker, we will build the teachings of the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey to the school curriculum. At all levels,
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube.
on an age-appropriate basis to encourage self-belief, personal responsibility, and self-actualization in our nation's youth. We will establish a National Research and Development Council, bringing all relevant institutions together from within the state, academia, the private sector, trade unions to develop and monitor and evaluate a national R&D strategy. And we will provide an accelerated write-off for taxes of expenditure on research and development to encourage greater private investment in innovation that ties agriculture to manufacturing, science, technology, and advances the labor force. Mr. Speaker, human capital development is directly linked to citizen security. It is about developing an aware, thoughtful, and thinking society that can access a wide range of opportunities, locally and indeed globally, with not only the skills, but also the values and attitudes that promote national development. Speaker, the very high levels of violent crime in our country continue to demoralize our nation. It discourages investment. It increases the public cost of medical care and reduces our capacity to achieve high levels of inclusive, sustainable economic growth. I emphasize that we see education and training as a means to reduce the levels of violence and crime in our society. And I'm making the broader point that to make Jamaica a safe country in which to live, work, raise families, and do business, a different approach must be taken to national security, or as we have started to call it, to citizen security, coupled with a concerted thrust for social transformation. We prefer to think about citizen security because it forces us to think of people's needs. Our people deserve respect. It shows us, for instance, that road safety is a citizen security issue. If roads are potholed and motorists are forced to swerve as a result, all people using the roads are at risk. So it affects security. Street lights don't work. It compromises women's, in particular, sense of security. And if militarization is the way forward, we will see more and more videos of masked policemen with long guns hauling and intimidating citizens. And that's not the Jamaica we want. We cannot build a future and a nation by locking down underserved communities. The better way is to make Jamaica safe for all by a progressive approach to citizen security. And I'm going to share with you some of our proposals for making Jamaica a safe society for us all.
Tell me what.
We will revitalize the Peace Management Initiative. Through the Peace Management Initiative, we want to build a network in all of the violence-prone communities across the country, rolling out restorative justice, mediation, and other conflict resolution techniques at the community level. train and empower at least 500 violence interrupters across Jamaica. We'll partner with the private sector and other stakeholders to expand Project STAR, which they have initiated, and make it into a truly national program, including things like access to training, mentorship, remedial education, and job placements for youth at risk. We will enact legislation that targets known vicious purveyors of criminal violence across Jamaica and brings them to justice, including through a court-supervised process of pre-charge detention that targets persons on whom there's credible intelligence to facilitate building viable cases that can result in a successful prosecution. Due process is critical here, and that is why it must be a court-supervised process. Mr. Speaker, we will bring much greater focus on reforming the prison system to reduce the high level of recidivism. In other words, people who offend are imprisoned. When they're released, they offend again and come back into prison. That is recidivism.
Yep.
We need to reduce the high level of recidivism, which is very high in Jamaica, some 40%, I believe, by rehabilitating offenders to become productive citizens rather than reoffenders. Return to society. Every Jamaican has an interest in a prison system that rehabilitates prisoners and makes them productive citizens. We're fooling ourselves if we think that we can just ignore that, let the prisons run in the way they currently run, and solve our national security problem. We will provide the police force with the vehicles, equipment, and training that they need to efficiently respond and investigate and prosecute offenders. We will build out the Jamaica Eye system of cameras to enhance citizen security and ensure greater accountability for criminal behavior. It is an important part of making Jamaica safe. And we will provide mental health support, including adequate rest to our law enforcement officers to help them cope with the difficulties of their line of work here in Jamaica. We will partner with non-governmental organizations to support well-designed and sustainable community-based interventions that focus on anger management, parenting skills, conflict resolution, and overall civility, and substantially increase the number of social workers to take on these critical tasks and build social cohesion within communities. This is a balanced approach with citizen security, and it's essential. Without it, we are not going to get the results that we need. Mr. Speaker, we recognize that crime and other social behaviors in Jamaica emerge from the imbalanced structure of our society.
Listen.
This is why we prioritize social justice and workers' rights as an essential part of the role of government. As a society with a history of oppression of our people, we must be ever mindful of the need to build healthy employment relations.
Listen.
That includes how government treats the civil service. Government must set the example for how all other employers treat workers. And at the most basic level, we will approach all negotiations with the public sector workers with respect, openness, and a spirit of partnership. The government has been boasting about low unemployment, but many of these jobs are below the International Labour Organization standards for decent work. Many young people are frustrated and are no longer looking for a job. Low unemployment exists alongside high underemployment, with hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans of working age staying outside the workforce, unwilling to work for wages that cannot sustain them with a decent quality of life.
That's true.
We see work.
Some people tell me, several female call me and tell me they have to quit them job because what they were getting for wages, they couldn't pay to go to work and have lunch or anything. They said they go to work all hungry. It's cheaper to stay home and starve than go to work and stranded on the road, enough period to come home. What Mark Golding is saying is true. That's the everyday life of Jamaicans.
Workers across the economy working for years under fixed-term contracts, and the government will not address this structural inequity.
When you even talk about the contract they are loyal public platform, I'm the first man who brought those things up. This platform, A matter of fact, I don't hear nobody else talk about these things. If anybody touch them, it must be Wayne, Fabs. But nobody touched these things about the workers who in 2020, the Prime Minister promised the workers, part of his campaign promise was to give benefits to workers, a retirement benefit. You understand? I look a package up this, but all of a sudden, all the Jamaican workers, them almost turn retirement, turn contractor worker. So the employers in Jamaica turn almost all the Jamaica workers in a contract worker. When they have the contract, every 3 months, them sign a contract. If you are going through bad things at your job, you cannot tell nobody because they might not get a contract signed so you can have a job in 3 months. So they keep the Jamaican people in limbo. So many people are stressful, hopeless, because you go through certain things at your job, you can't talk. Even sexual abuse, you can't talk. Because just somebody might make get signed up for 3 months. So Jamaica people just living in a thing there. When them stressed out, that is not job security. That is like day labor. When they sign contract. Do you understand me? Let's continue. And me hear Mark touch it already. Me hear him talk about it at conference. Me come back on my page and say, Mark is the only politician who talk about this. Something we talk about. Nobody else. So the second time I hear Mark Golding address something we talk about all the time at my page. Let's continue.
Affecting the labor market. We have a labor market reform report which focuses on public productivity improvements, and it has been left in file 13. We need to advance from a minimum wage system to a livable wage system. Tied to increase productivity to be sustainable. The next PMP government will introduce structural reforms that balance the interests of workers and employers to bring about productivity, equity, and decent work.
Money makes the world go round.
Our government will seek to ensure that the workers of Jamaica are respected and their rights are protected. And I'm going to share some of our proposals with you. As I've said, we will approach all negotiations with the public sector workers and their representatives with respect, openness, and a spirit of partnership. We will enact comprehensive legislation to eliminate abusive contractual arrangements which circumvent employment rights right across the economy. The government is going through a slow and incremental process of eliminating this practice from the public sector. And it was thrust on the government by the ruling of the court, which affected security guards. But that is incrementalism and is not enough. Many workers outside of the government service, the public sector, are affected by this problem. We will ensure equal treatment of all workers, regardless of the legal form of their contracts. We will pursue the establishment of joint industrial councils in those industries where there are high levels of employment, but there's no common standard for working conditions and there's no union representation. The security guard industry, the tourism industry, the global services, BPO, those industries are cases in point where a joint industrial council would really move things forward.
Boy, Mark, I think about the people, you know. It's just a little thing you think about. You know, hear them I think of Frank such man, you know. No, sir. You know, okay, boy, look at Anson on the ground. Entertainment now say, I just want to know if he will also hold his people accountable, because it is so easy to hold other people accountable until it is someone we care about. All sounds good, just need actions to follow. I agree with you. I know on this platform, we won't pet up nobody for my grandkids. You know that, right? I will fight for my grandkids. No sweet talk to us. But what me hear him say still entertainment now. I heard him say that numerous times. Say him now about no corruption. Him want him people them already. Him said not even people from him side. He said I'm not gonna tolerate no corruption in a him side. Him say him talk it several times. I hear him say. I didn't hear him. Him now back no corruption even from the member of his party. I heard him say that several times. So, like you said, and we all say, The proof is in the eating of the pudding, don't it? But everybody deserves a chance to do that dance for us at the pole, don't it? The last dancer did if you eat your dance, just tear up, bikini stretch out and I hang down and flabby. Nah, take care of yourself right. You know, no, sir. Give the new guy a chance. Maybe the new dancer can do a better job at the pole. You see what I say, people? So let's continue to listen.
We'll review the incentives legislation for employee share ownership plans to make it.
Me see Orate Powell, yes, I say, we must all play our part. You know what, Orate? Yeah, study my mind though. Because that's what me into. When me hear him say a while ago, so we all must play our part. I am willing to play my part for a better Jamaica. Just say the word. Me want him say just say the word, call us. What do want call us to do? To help him make the country a better Jamaica. I'm willing to play. I'm willing. I'm here. And so many others. So many of you writers would love to see a better Jamaica. So many of you would do anything to see a better Jamaica so we can be even proud to be a Jamaican once more. I'm ready.
User-friendly and easy to comply with and administer, followed by a promotional exercise to encourage Jamaican firms to establish employee share ownership plans.
People are here more, you're the part of the run out of office, you know. When everybody's clear at the office, you know, because remember, while he's talking all this beautiful stuff have to be fixed first. Do you understand me? He's talking about this beautiful place we can get to. But you have to clean the pathway to get to there. You have to pave the road, set the foundation. You can't have corruption and achieve the goal that Jamaica supposed to expect to achieve. Do you understand me? Both don't work. Prosperity and criminality don't work.
Which align employer and employee interests and create wealth for their workers at all levels, from the bearer right up to the CEO. And I've had personal experience at the consistent empowerment and enrichment that workers can benefit from through employee share ownership plans. We will establish a commission to examine the dire situation now faced by communities in the former sugar areas and to develop a comprehensive plan for the economic revitalization of those areas. And we've seen in the sugar belts across the country where sugar has atrophied with nothing to replace it. And what has in fact replaced it is the scamming on other activities and high levels of violent crime. We need to do something about that.
Yeah.
And we will put in place proper and dignified relocation arrangements for the
people. Before we go further, where you come from, such man, about the youth them? Radam. To fix crime in Jamaica, such man, Radam. People, to fix crime in Jamaica, such man come with P. Radam. Do you hear Radam come from this man? May I ask if it is a compassionate, sensible approach this brother use here? Do you hear this brother talk on a Radam?
Families of former sugar workers. We have seen too many cases where they're not being treated fairly in Innswood and so on, where they're being moved off the land without any proper arrangements being made to house them. These priority areas will be built out using social transformation and social protection interventions, techniques, and measures linked into health and wellness strategies.
Yeah.
They'll be informed by gender consideration and directly address the needs of persons with disabilities, with inclusion being a guiding principle. Social cohesion and empowerment drive sustainable economic development. Productivity thrives where people feel safe, secure, and motivated. Productivity, in turn, drives diversification and growth, building our existing productive sectors and enabling new ones to emerge in an inclusive and sustainable growth path for Jamaica. Mr. Speaker, we need a sound approach to economic management if we're to achieve sustainable economic development. It requires continuing along the fiscal responsibility path that we have established jointly over the years, and it has to be maintained by bipartisan support. And we are committed to ensuring that the gains that Jamaica has made in stabilizing its public finances are permanently kept for future generations.
You know what I think about right now? Say my talk like this, my talk like this. Such man and all them think is a walk in the park. La 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 la. Me such one up there father there. La la la. They never expect him to drop their hammer upon them and make them flat like a roach when they turn on light by a roach, you know. They not expect that. Because people, to get to all this beautiful place where you attack, the work must be done. You have to kill corruption. You have to kill corruption. Like when you the liberator say, how Mark is going to pay all this stuff with my promise? People, them not ask. They not ask how we are lose so much money out of the country. People, if we stop dealing in corruption, right now, $1.7 trillion is an accounted for out of the Prime Minister office, Tufton and Favored office. Tell me what kind of program with Mark Golding attack that couldn't help out. $200 billion gone out of the country, lost due to crookedness, thievery, annually, $200 billion. Which part of that could help out with the money you might go to talk about? Royal Reed, when they $50 million, the corrupt bunch, all by himself. Where is he at? Miss McLean, school nutri product, $124 million. Them said she get off because the statute of limitation run out. So are they holding Mr. Reed until the statute of limitation run out also? And how many statutes of limitation Mr. run out around here? Conveniently. Anyway, let's continue. But you can't, like somebody said in the comment section, let me put it up there, sir. Ubuntu. Clean up, take a bathe first. So what Ubuntu said, so you can't put on clean clothes on dirty body. Jamaica can't build upon a weak foundation, a corrupt foundation. We have to fix that first, just like Singapore. Lock up politicians, take away assets, send them on a long trip to prison. That's only when Singapore can see its country take off. You cannot put on clean clothes upon a dirty body. We know this. Have you ever tried put on deodorant on a dirty body before? I've tried it. Not a good result. I've tried putting on deodorant on a dirty body before, so you keep down certain scent. I've tried it. For whatever reason, you can't get to go beard. Is that a good result? No, seriously. And I'm don't go like say me alone try that so. Lad, stop calling me nasty, man. When I make you look at me alone nasty, people look here. I've never tried put on deodorant on clean body yet. It's no good. Go wash your tail first. It make it worse. It make it worse. So to clean corruption, to clean up our country, the economy, crime and all that, we have to fix up corruption. Corruption is what breeds crime. Let's continue.
I spoke to this earlier, and our shadow spokesman of finance dealt with it extensively in his budget presentation last Thursday. Sustainable economic development will require transitioning Jamaica, as I've said, to one where high-value goods and services are delivered to domestic and export markets. And I want to share some practical steps that can be taken in that direction, beginning with food security. Mr. Speaker, the government is not serious about agriculture and food security.
No, they're not.
And it is reflected in the estimates of expenditure that were tabled.
Listen.
Critical areas are being neglected. Farm road expenditure has been reduced. Extension services, which provide guidance to farmers, is flat. Technical support is being decreased. And most importantly, research and development only gets a 2.7% increase, which is way below inflation.
Listen there.
The allocation for irrigation, which supports the National Irrigation Commission, is also flat, while Essex Valley and Southern Plains projects are coming to an end, having undergone numerous extensions. Examples of areas for growth in agriculture include supporting research and activities like extracting oil, extracting oils and flavors, developing value-added products from our agricultural produce, and capturing economic potential from waste from harvesting. The quality of our produce is world-renowned and is part of our overall creative product in the country. We're also sorely disappointed by the direction that the medicinal and therapeutic ganja industry has been taken since the PNP government decriminalized its use in 2015 and created a platform for a new lawful industry to emerge.
Ganja?
Our cannabis sector must be developed in a way that is far more inclusive for small farmers.
I want to know the cannabis license go now. All politicians' son import ganja. The man who have a license now, people never used to like ganja first time. They say, move for you so the dirty ganja. Move for you so it think like our. Those are the people them who are benefit. All politicians' son import ganja from Canada. Me say if they run out of office, man. The liberty when they take a Jamaican people, the local farmer them in Jamaica was struggling over the years. The local Rasta man who have run with it up in the hills. Because we got jail and get them Rasta cut off. Survive Babylon. Until now, some man make money off a ganja. All politician picnic. All police. Police a ganja farm and a ship ganja out there. Police. Well, lock up how much man for ganja. That police are supposed to have no license. Police. Khaki clothes, police retire and in a big ganja business. You know what man life in mash up for look at ganja. I know you're in that business. People can listen over there.
Who now find themselves marginalized and excluded. That was never the philosophy when we did this. And I'm very disappointed by the way it's played out. We're going to have to give it some special attention when we form government. The next PNP government will be focused on genuinely increasing exports, strengthening food security in Jamaica, expanding irrigation and research capabilities in the agricultural sector. And we're going to brand this the SMART program, Sustainable Management of Agriculture through Research and Technology. With the limited land space available in Jamaica and a growing population that we need to feed, we must find the right synergies between increased food production and sustaining the natural environment. Our housing programs will not compromise the most fertile and irrigated lands, as this government has done at Bernard Lodge. There are some proposals under the SMART program that I want to mention. We will manage the sector through increased training of our youth, with a focus on agricultural training institutions such as 4-H clubs and the extension services offered through RADA. We will increase the productivity of our farmers through introduction of improved climate-smart farming systems and technology to drive farming operations. We'll expand and repair the farm road network to enable our farmers to access their farms and transport their produce to market. We'll engage our major private sector players in the poultry and agricultural processing and milk and livestock production to create the enabling environment that they require so they can expand their already significant contribution to the economy. We'll partner with UWI and other technical institutions to engage in research that will boost productivity. The College of Agricultural Science and Education, CASE, must be given the financial resources to do the necessary research that will assist our farmers to produce at a consistently high quality. And in fact,
people, such boy, and I think about them things, you know. Not think about it now. I'm not thinking about the future. You see how beer blow my blow smoke up Jamaican tail. Beer style master the people. Lies and we spend the most. No new taxes. Everything the man say is a lie.
The next PNP administration intends to upgrade CASE to a university to enhance.
Wow.
enhance the focused institutional support required for a thrust to greater food security in the country. We will boost our own research facilities at Bodles and Orange River and Montpelier to provide innovations that our farmers require to grow the sector.
Farming,
We will make the best planting stock, animal genetics and farming systems in animal husbandry and agronomy available to our farmers. We'll increase the use of drones, RFID technology, hydroponic farming systems, solar-operated irrigation pumps, and in-field monitoring of soil fertility to boost our production and increase productivity.
So like this, everybody are serious. When they come to farming, man, at first, now you hear them sitting about farming in Jamaica. You don't hear this from the Minister of Agriculture. You know, hear it from them people. We do the most, and the last this, and the last administration, and we did the most, and now we spend our billion, trillion, gazillion dollars. The people run a south field can have plant peanut and certain crop. Because they don't have water. They have to buy water. When there's so much water, great pan around there, people. One big pan, I St. Elizabeth around there, when I saw it. Great pan can't done. Fresh water pan. Big old pan. Big old pan, people. And the government failed to give the people them water. It's called engineered hardship. There's no need for Jamaican to have no problem with water. When you look right around the island, water running right into the ocean, fresh water and running at the sea, round and round Jamaica.
And we will strengthen the laws to protect our farmers from agricultural theft, bringing those offenses under the Proceeds of Crime Act's regime so that the profits can be taken away from criminals who reap what our farmers sow.
That's the sweetest thing me hear all day. You see, such man, they not think. Radam, they not think. You know the man say, you think you want broke man ground when you know say everything you got can be taken away? No, as it last stands, is you got jail. Prison time is broke man ground. You remember that say a while ago? Just like a scammer, the Proceed of Crime Act. So when you're going to farm a ground and leech pan the farmer, they can take for your thing. You can lose your house, your car, your this, your that. Proceed of Crime Act. And I truly believe that if you take away farm thief, the man that were indulging a pre-deal last night, to lose everything. How long have you been doing it? How much farm are you rob from? How many knows in the house you have and a couple cow your teeth and build your house? So I believe what Marcus says is the right way, right approach forward. Proceeds of Crime Act. So you just get locked up and go to prison for thief the man good for a couple of years. You don't have nothing when you come back out. And they said if you take it, man. That brother is serious about farming, you know. You know, you must think they want to talk about change of agriculture. And they study. That brother is serious about farming and really serious. People, that's what we want. The spirit of Jamaica needs to be lifted up again. We are battered down, people, for the last 8 years. We can't even talk. We can't even walk. Every man has said them dark. We could continue.
Mr. Speaker, our goal is for agriculture and agro-industries to contribute at least 10 to 12% of Jamaica's GDP, transforming rural development, providing sustainable employment across the country, and guaranteeing our nation's food security. This is why we are adamant that our concerns regarding the removal of GCT from imported foods be immediately reviewed.
As Mrs. Somebody said, Wayne Evans said, I remember back in the days, trucks full of farmers with them produce going to the markets all over Jamaica. Remember that? Remember MC? Yes, man. But no, Wayne, if you understand, say, market people can't be driving a truck back at Jamaica again. I told people. Such man coming with law. Stop market people from driving at the back of vehicle, going to market. Talk to me, comment section. Is this a myth? Is this a rumor? That market people can't travel in a truck back to market again. That's it. That's the culture. You're driving at the back of the truck with your goods. Several on the chart on the truck. We go on a market together. The truck driver stay in a town or mobile. Enough time the truck man go back home, you know. The truck man stay down there and stay in market and wait for these people. Talk to me. Talk to me, people. So, we say wait till tomorrow after the next man, such man, like Debbie said earlier in her comment, say, you might get a speech right after say if him can size up with this man speech. You understand me? Say such boy, I got copy what I go on and say if you can't get a speech because happy a dude and liar come out of head, man. We're tired of hearing such man. We don't have to listen to him.
And the initiatives that we proposed earlier, we put into action. Mr. Speaker, I now turn to a number of emerging industries and some of our plans for their development. Like our spokesperson on finance explained, energy, broadband, and internet access are all central considerations for advancing inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Jamaica's fixed broadband population penetration of 15% in 2022 ranks Jamaica at the lower end of internet penetration and adoption when compared to other countries in the Caribbean. Our fixed broadband subscription is lower than Cayman, Trinidad, and Grenada. We will prioritize investments and initiatives to bridge the digital divide. To ensure that all Jamaican citizens have access to affordable and reliable internet services. This will require investment in building a robust digital infrastructure and expanding access to high-speed internet connectivity, a process which has already started and which needs to be accelerated. By achieving digital connectivity right across the country, Jamaica can create a level playing field for persons to access online education, remote work opportunities, and digital services, thereby enabling them to participate fully in an increasingly digital economy. We also intend to expand partnerships with telecoms companies to deploy broadband networks in underserved areas.
People, what this current such man is doing is going cashless, and we're not even digital yet. We don't get no education about no digital, nothing. Most people don't understand these things, you know. Give it education first, no man. Where I go cashless and needs for? I know many of you that talk about the needs and all that, you know. But we continue to listen.
Adding incentives to encourage. Providing incentives to encourage adoption of digital technologies in low-income households. Mr. Speaker, the emergence of artificial intelligence, AI, as a new frontier of technological advancement is already having a massive global impact on commerce and indeed life in general. And this is only going to intensify in years to come. We're really at the very beginning of the effects of AI on our lives. Jamaica therefore needs to prepare itself for the positive and negative effects of AI technology so we can benefit from its massive potential for greater efficiency and competitiveness and mitigate the serious risks of misrepresentation and fraud that come with AI. The next PMP administration will develop and introduce an AI-related curriculum and digital literacy programs from primary school through to tertiary education.
Yeah. So, I just have to start from people. People, I don't just have to start from, you know. This day and age, they have to start from the youth them with this tech stuff. That's the age we're in. In Jamaica, all them do a promise of road and water. From your boy till now, I don't live in the pan. Like we had done, so we had done me with no sense. When the best and the brightest gone overseas, they live their potential.
By equipping students with foundational skills in coding, data analysis, and critical thinking, we will cultivate a new generation of AI-savvy individuals who are well prepared for the jobs of the future. We have to embrace the present in a way that will prepare our people for the future. We will also introduce adult education and skills training programs to upskill and reskill the existing workforce so that Jamaican citizens aren't left behind as automation and AI technologies reshape the labor market. And the issue of internet penetration is also tied to the distribution of digital technology. It impacts the growth of the cluster of emerging industries that we have identified for priority attention: global logistics, cultural creative industry, sport, our environmental and ecological heritage, and community tourism. These are industries that we think have tremendous potential. As with agriculture, this government has not demonstrated its seriousness about the development of cultural and creative industries or sports. The absence of a development plan for culture and creative industries after 8 years, and the barely touched national sports policy that we left behind bear witness to this. Mr. Speaker, the One Love phenomenon, now blowing like a natural mystic across the globe, shows us what cultural and creative practitioners have been telling us for years. Nurturing and growing the cultural and creative industries, sports, and their diverse ecosystems is extremely important for economic development and for cultural identity in Jamaica. It requires the funding and deliberate effort to drive these industries, which are two of the fastest growing areas of economic activity in the world. In this year's budget, $234 million is allocated to the Jamaican Screen Development Initiative, and we endorse that. The government has identified 2 entertainment spaces. They say they've identified, some of them have been, one of them has been identified long ago, and one of them was used for entertainment from long ago. But it's a good start after many years of inaction. We commit that when we are in government, we will prioritize the participatory development of a master plan comprising of comprehensive policy and legislative framework to support and incentivize the cultural and creative industries and sports.
People in Nigeria court there, they come talk about say Kingston City, man, make Kingston City a place where you can reggae music play 24/7. Why they think Jamaica people for clown though? These clowns take the people for clown because the clown find out that the people are bigger clown, so them treat them like that and hold them down. People moving forward, step out of that. Remember that.
We'll address investment and finance, education and training, infrastructure development for cultural and creative persons, practitioners, and also sports practitioners. Existing infrastructure for the cultural and creative industries and sports are falling apart island-wide. The Trelawney Sports Centre, Independence Park, Catherine Hall, Sabina Park, the Little Theatre, Ward Theatre, Vale Royal, and other existing and potential heritage sites are disintegrating from neglect.
People, what such man I do for 8 years? What am I do? Buy more trucks? Build more house? Build more apartment complex, man, people then? Pay scraping. Pay scraping, people. They man not care about nothing, not even garbage.
How come? Change is sorely needed.
How come you right out of the place and mash up? No, sir.
Mr. Speaker, in the area of tourism, we are committed to trying to broaden the benefits flowing to our people from the massive investments that have taken place in tourism. Indeed, we're spending $4 billion advertising sun, sea, and sand. And we think that the government should direct some of these resources to developing and promoting community tourism.
How much him say? We are spent? Not enough money that. But we hear the better say.
Industry, sport, ecotourism, and craft. For example, a round-robin series of reggae arts and cultural festivals across the island at various dates throughout the year would directly boost community incomes as part of our integrated plan. And it can be done through the municipal corporations to encourage community development. In other words, community tourism for community development.
I did a video on that.
That type of community tourism activity would produce revenue for the local authorities.
I did a video on that also.
To deliver services at a higher level to their communities. And this approach promotes greater economic inclusion. It's a glimpse of what holistic implementation across these important emerging sectors could look like promoting sustainable economic development. While the existing enclave model of tourism generates wealth for that sector, it is not sufficiently impacting the communities in proximity to the enclaves. Boasts of record tourism arrivals,
Listen.
we hear very little on why it seems not to elevate communities across Jamaica.
Pocket.
And Mr. Speaker, at this point, I want to say one commitment that I have, which is in keeping with our seriousness about culture and the creative industries. When we form the next government, I commit to conferring the Order of National Hero on the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley.
About time. Hey, he better mind, bro. The man, fussy, you know. Cause that's all him do, you know. That's all him do, man. He better mind such boy fussing on what him say a while ago about Bob Marley becoming a national hero. Hey, good idea. I support that. I support
For
that.
his service of a most distinguished nature in advancing Jamaican culture and his global impact as a liberating, inspirational force for oppressed people across the world. I say, time come to recognize the gong as a true national hero.
Yes.
And confer that honor on him accordingly.
Bob Marley should be a national hero.
Mr. Speaker, I now turn to measures to make real our commitment to the development of infrastructure and human amenities. The vexed issue of energy costs in Jamaica needs to be addressed. They are way too high, and they are another structural impediment to economic transformation. We have some proposals to ensure a viable and sustainable electricity system and to bring down electricity costs to consumers and businesses. We will undertake a massive regularization support drive for electricity connections, including a subsidy to help families meet the costs of rewiring, inspection, and certification.
Get them out of poverty, man. Live up the people, man.
And we will provide these families with solar panels to help them manage their energy costs going forward and build climate sustainability.
People, you know, long we are chat about that. Poor people out there can barely afford nothing, and we have the sun for free. The government could find a way to help, you know. Solar panel on the house and just take time pay it off and own on that stuff. And I look at video me do. Because it look like someone that get money from the electric company out there. Them not see the need. Just like the people who deliver water or sell on the water. There's no need them if you give the water in a pipe. If them control funeral homes, them not gonna stop crime. What a wicked set of people them.
We will roll out a national energy efficiency, natural lighting, and passive cooling program.
Yes.
Financed by local, regional, and international development banks and private risk capital. The objective here is to achieve an average 50% reduction in residential energy consumption and costs with a very short payback of a few years.
Yes.
We will prioritize achieving our renewable energy target of 33% by 2030. This government has failed to issue regular renewable energy RFPs, requests for proposals. Indeed, they've only issued one in the last 8 years.
Why you believe them doing that, people? Wanna believe them and do that? Them not care about nobody but them pocket. Them to go. Them not speaking like this, brother. You know? Them not talking about the kitchen table issue. What this brother talk about. But we continue.
That is an indictment on their management of the economy.
Bad.
These RFPs generate fee income for the government, and the capital required to implement these wind, solar, hydro, and waste energy projects is privately funded. We intend to issue utility scale RFPs every 2 to 3 years to reach the renewable energy target. Mr. Speaker, we will review the tax system affecting the energy sector to ensure that it incentivizes investments in efficiency and cost-reducing replacement and expansion of the sector, in keeping with our policy priorities to reduce Jamaica's carbon footprint. Making real change for our people requires much greater attention to water, roads, and works. The local government elections made this clear. All governance is about prioritization, especially when resources are limited, and they're always limited. What governments prioritize determines the kind of society we're building, and it tells us what the future will look like. We believe that over the next decade, public capital expenditure must prioritize investments to improve the production, distribution, and harvesting of water, and rehabilitating the minor road and farm road networks across Jamaica. These are dominant demands of the people, and the government must answer to the people. The National Water Commission, the NWC, purports to supply 73% of the population with water, which means that over 25% of our population is not served by the public water supply system. And private water companies don't close that gap in communities where the NWC is not providing water. That's what they say. There needs to be a major thrust to build connectivity among the network of pumping stations and other elements that make up Jamaica's water supply system, so that water can be efficiently distributed from where it is abundant to where there's a lack of supply. And that
Let me tell you something about engineering hardship. The last election, J.C. Hutchison put miles and miles of pipe under the road from quarters up in the hills called the market. And the people them say, oh no, they don't get a drip of water out of it. I mean, I asked J.C. Hutchison, how come I spend millions of dollars? Millions, probably billions, run out of the miles of pipe there, brother, and no water in it. J.C. Hutchison turn on the water from middle quarters to the people up in the hills, man. Water in the quarters. Pump house and the way down alone of the river down quarters. J.C. Hutchison, the water there quarters. Why are you refusing to turn on the pipe so the people up in the New Market area can have water in the pipe? People, the water pipe is under the road. Last election, I know the people can't get a drip of water out of the pipe. J.C. Hutchison, we want to know why the people them cannot get the water out of the pipe. Anybody have J.C. Hutchison number? Please send it to me. Come on, call him. Anybody know J.C. Hutchison's number? Any contact to J.C. Hutchison? Please send it in my inbox somewhere. I want J.C. Hutchison contact, because I need to find out why there's no water from middle quarters to Upper New Market when there are pipes under the ground. It is another engineered hardship. Let's continue.
Requires achieving a high level of cohesion among the various state agencies that have responsibility for different aspects of the system. And we have to focus on achieving that. It is unacceptable that slightly over $1 billion is slated for water supply projects this year, given the water storage issues that we've been facing over the last several years, and anticipated droughts with climate change, and the constant cries of the people for water. Meanwhile, the NWC has made announcements of a plan to develop 577 acres in Norbrook, a watershed area at that. One really has to wonder about their priorities. We welcome the public-private partnership that was announced, that is, we're told, will supply 15 million gallons a day from St. Catherine to serve the Kingston metropolitan area, Portmore, and Spanish Town, as long as the commercial terms are fairly balanced to protect the public. We don't want a sweetheart deal at the expense of the public. This project is slated to begin in 25-26, i.e. a year out from now, I believe, according to the Public Investment Program. One is left to wonder why it's taking 3 years since the agreement was signed to start the work on such an urgent project. But what of pipe water to the rest of Jamaica? And what are plans to secure our natural water resources across Jamaica in an era of intensifying climate change? I move to roads. The last 3 decades have witnessed significant investment in the development of highways. And that was a good thing. North Coast Highway Project, Highway 2000, the North-South Link, and Southern Coastal Project, and so on. In the meantime, interior roads, community roads, on which most of our people have to drive on a daily basis, are in an appalling condition.
Yeah.
Project Spark is an effort to start addressing this problem. But we have serious doubts as to the approach that's being taken, given our negative experience with the constituency allocation of roads in 2022, which many MPs have reported are still yet to come through. The last PNP administration established a secretariat for G with the technical personnel to efficiently drive the infrastructure projects executed under that program and to ensure proper accountability for the expenditure under the program, which was a great success. We commend that model to the government so that we don't want Project Spark to burn out without achieving significant improvement to the minor road network. Mr. Speaker.
What the man say? The Project Spark. When some fixed road and promise in a campaign, people, Mark Golding said they want to burn out before it even start. What that mean? Hey.
I move to health and wellness. Several green papers, audits, and reviews within the Ministry of Health and Wellness that clearly outline the dilapidated state of the public health system.
Bad.
Even without resorting to these sources, there's a travel advisory issued by the U.S. State Department advising of the poor state of our hospitals and the prohibitive costs associated with accessing private health care. And this is borne out by the constant cries of the users of the public health system and the frustration of the healthcare providers themselves, often manifested in industrial unrest and protests. And even now, there are murmurings of unrest in some sectors of the health service. One therefore has to wonder what guides the priorities for expenditure in the annual budget for the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Jaja.
With a capital budget of $11 billion, nearly twice that of education, one would expect clear efforts to decrease inefficiencies, to improve the overall experience of accessing the public health system.
Where the money I go? Where the money I go, people? We continue to listen.
And to address the major health threats affecting Jamaicans. However, these major threats of chronic non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and cancer have been, to an extent, sidelined in favor of massive spend on infrastructure concentrated in 3 hospitals. The massive cost overrun in the Cornwall Regional Hospital will go down as the greatest project cost variation in the history of Jamaica at a staggering 1,100%.
1,100%.
Never before has any Jamaican alive or dead seen a project move from an estimated cost to completion of less than $2 billion and end up costing more than 10 times that amount at over $20 billion. And this figure is expected to rise further as the completion date is pushed farther away. The only person who predicted it accurately was Maurice Guy, the member for Central St. Mary. It is telling that no one has been held accountable for this debacle. The Minister of Health has been bemoaning the lack of local expertise in hospital construction, but has nevertheless decided to begin the construction of 2 new facilities at UHWI and Spanish Town. We wonder what the logic is behind that when the English-speaking Caribbean's largest community of Portmore still doesn't have a public hospital.
Wow.
And when the Western region is still struggling without a fully operational Cornwall Regional Hospital. And when the major parishes are without a facility that has basic diagnostic equipment. And in major urban areas, there's an economically unsound reliance on using private facilities for public patients, transported in scarcely available ambulances. With this budget, Users of the public health system will continue to suffer from prolonged waiting times, overcrowded emergency rooms, inadequate hospital beds, and overworked and demotivated staff who can't wait for the next recruiter for a way out. Like the census, the immunization rates are well below targets, and the maternal mortality rate is at its highest level in over 50 years. The maternal mortality rate in Jamaica is at the highest levels in over 50 years. No budgetary changes to deal with these problems. Mr. Speaker, something is wrong here. I move to housing, land, and sustainable living. Land and shelter remain important national priorities. On the minds of hardworking Jamaicans is the question, will they ever be able to enjoy the security of being able to own a piece of land or a house? Using data from the 2022 Voluntary National Review Report of the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs, we know that in 2019, over 100,000 fewer Jamaicans rented or lived in their own home than in 2007.
Wow.
100,000 fewer Jamaicans.
Yep.
30% of households were either living rent-free with the owner's consent, what Jamaicans would call cotching, or they were occupying premises without the legal owner's consent. That represented an increase of 10 percentage points over the preceding decade. If you live in a major urban center, you are most concerned about the fact that the price of housing built under this JLP government is out of reach for most people.
True.
Shelter is one of the basic needs of our people. In the Jamaican historical and socio-economic context, it requires a proactive policy by the state to provide affordable housing for our people. The People's National Party understands this. It is what motivated us to develop Portmore, the largest residential community in the Caribbean, and so many other major schemes, Harborview, Mona Heights, Frontier Heights, and a plethora of other housing developments across the island. It is why in 1976 the most Honorable Michael Manley established a National Housing Trust to provide affordable housing for Jamaica. It is why the most Honorable B.J. Patson in the 1990s established a program called Operation Pride to provide land and housing for citizens, which despite its challenges, delivered over 50,000 titled lots for people in Pines of Parade, most of other communities.
Wow.
And similarly, the most Honorable Portia Simpson Miller embarked on an initiative to remove barracks housing and provide houses for sugar workers to live in dignity.
200 houses in 8 years.
In stark contrast, this government has built a mere 200 social houses, one dege since 2016, a paltry average of 25 housing units per year. And it presides over the demolition of poor people's houses in Clifton and St. Catherine. And
What if you are? Hold on, someone is at the door, people. I'll be right back. Hold on there.
so they evict 65 settled families from their homes in the widest Vale. In truth and in fact, the cost of housing is out of reach to ordinary Jamaicans, with a two-bedroom unit on the market costing over $20 million, while the NHT only provides up to $9 million to a contributor to purchase a home. The NHT has been financially weakened by the government's continued extraction of $11.4 billion every year to finance the budget of the government since 2016. After the 2013 to 2016 IMF program ended, we had put that in place for 4 years when we had a mountain of debt to get Jamaica out of, and we had a very high primary surplus target. It was never supposed to be extended. The recent decision to require NHT contributors earning over $31,000 a week to borrow from private financial institutions flows from that extraction of resources for so many years now since this government came to power. And whereas contributors to NHT have been charged interest rates of 5% by the NHT, Private financial institutions are charging around 9% now, and the NHT is having to subsidize those private financial institutions for the difference in those rates.
Clear?
And that's going to further weaken the institution.
And
Jamaica
to
needs
mash up
change.
NHT.
We are on the road to change. Soldiers, the teachers, the nurses, civil servants, young professionals need access to affordable housing. So that must be the road to change. And some of our proposals include, we will repurpose NHT to ensure that it focuses on the building of affordable housing.
That's what I want to see.
We will end the extraction of $11.4 billion a year from the NHT for the government's budget and put this money into building affordable housing for our people. We will provide targeted and well-designed incentives for developers to get into the construction of affordable housing so that more of our population can afford to acquire a home using their...
People, you hear this man walk on and talk about my build house. He said, trick the Jamaica people. To him, trick the people that believe say the man build a million house to box cover. If you look at one hope, key when him give, him go cut ribbon. Who ever see cut ribbon and stand pipe? Stand pipe. Them cut ribbon, my people. Do you hear me? Check this out. Look, continue to listen to that man. Trickster.
NHT benefits. And we will complete the unfinished Operation Pride scheme so that the residents enjoy the full benefit of what was started for them. And we will launch a new program based on a similar concept, but with a robust and transparent accountability structure to tackle the deep problem of informal settlements across Jamaica and bring dignified housing in communities. Mr. Speaker, I move to the issue of good governance because it is the second pillar of the road to change, good governance. When it comes to governance, one thing is certain, things cannot be allowed to remain the way they are now. That is why I have identified an entire cluster of portfolios within our own governance structure to address the now desperate area of transparency and accountable governance. And this is where change is truly required. I move to the focus on social justice first. A robust social justice agenda is necessary for achieving high levels of inclusive, sustainable economic growth. If Jamaica is to become a socially cohesive society that moves away from negative behaviors and attitudes that undermine our mission to achieve national greatness.
Listen to this.
Deepening social justice is an important part of this objective.
And
I'm going to give you some of our proposals. We will implement a progressive beach access policy.
Beach.
To ensure that the public has reasonable access to Jamaica's beaches,
Yes.
as is done in other Caribbean islands
Yes.
that also enjoy a strong tourism industry.
Yes.
Beach access is important for our people's recreation and leisure in a stressful world.
Yo, people, we are ruling that brother here. Because such man got to go. Me and a PNP, me and a labor right. It's all about my grand picnic. Do you hear what me saying, people? From me him talk about beach access at the PNP thing there, you know. He said, wow, the man said willing to change laws so we could have access to our beaches. There should be no hotel too big, bigger than the people. We can't swim before a hotel because we put other people, we're coming out of our country, come see me. We go to other Caribbean island, the people can access the beach. Florida, I take you guys there all the time. Big, massive hotel. But you can walk miles from one end of Florida to the next on the beach. If it's not cliffed out where, you know, the beach break into cliff and stuff like that. No hotel no built on a beach. No have no rope going on the beach. You don't have no security on the beach. You know what you have on the beach down here? Lifeguards, police. You know when they say police to make sure everybody is safe. But you have lifeguards. Not no security with a big stick for bust your head for your own beach. Listen to this man on his beach argument.
This is no small thing, given the levels of violence and stress in this society. We will work with all stakeholders, including communities which have historically used beaches for recreation and fishing, and also tourism interests, to secure appropriate rights of access for the public to be able to enjoy our beaches. And if necessary, we will use legislation to protect the public's interest in having reasonable beach access while protecting the legitimate commercial interests of business owners.
Laws.
This is not an issue which the state can just stand back and leave as is. Time come.
People, can you imagine such boy just sit down there and look so? Can you imagine all this stuff what the man talk about? Such boy just sit down and look so. Because such boy want walk out long time. Because his governance collect a crap opposed to what his brother is saying. Make we listen.
While we endorse the raising of the threshold for the income tax on pensions, the truth is that our pensioners are really struggling and much more is needed to be done for them. Administrative changes to facilitate the speedy commencement of pension payments to retired employees is impatient of the day. They have to wait for extended periods before they can start getting their pension. And we have other creative proposals for expanding pension benefits to relieve the suffering of our pensioners, which I will share on another occasion. We will complete the outstanding review of the Domestic Violence Act and move quickly to implement the recommendations arising from that review.
Listen to the Domestic Violence Act.
And our intention is to establish support centers in every parish to provide safe havens for survivors of domestic violence and other gender.
Judge Rank meeting on the school. Here.
We will enact legislation to empower the public defender to bring legal proceedings, which he can't currently do, to defend the rights of vulnerable Jamaicans, and expand the scope of the Office of the Public Defender to become a national human rights institution and report on Jamaica's performance in respecting the rights of our citizens. That is
people who never hear such man talk about that yet. None of you ladies. Ladies ever hear such man talk and on behalf yet like that. These are things we talk on my platform, you know. You never hear such man talk like this. So Jard Rang beat the woman on the stool and there's nothing could happen more time because the woman decides to she go press charge. Because she might be intimidated, threatened, or coerced. You see the victim mash up. And because she not press charge, nothing can come out tight. You might have a threatening man.
institution. I had done all the preparatory work for that as Minister of Justice. 8 years later, nothing has happened. We will complete the long outstanding process of enacting legislation to enable Jamaica to accede to the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court, which is a missing element in the current accountability framework. I had started that process as well, knowing nothing about it. We need to have accountability for the most dire forms of crime that leaders can commit. We will expand the legal aid system in partnership with the legal profession to include constitutional civil matters, so people can get help to access their rights in important areas of their lives, including property matters, estate matters, personal injury cases, and employment matters. We will support the MSMEs, micro, small, medium-sized enterprises, and startups, so that formalizing their businesses is attractive, welcoming, and easy. We have a model for special economic zones of incentives. What about the SME sector? Why shouldn't they get a similar ecosystem of benefits to encourage people to formalize and start businesses? We will do that. We will enact legislation to require the banks to provide a minimum suite of basic financial services to customers without charging fees. And that the cost of doing that will be treated as part of the annual cost of having the privilege of operating a bank.
You can't do that, you know.
And we will enforce minimum service standards to ensure that customers have ready access to ATMs to withdraw and deposit money, especially in underserved areas where banks have been closing branches. Time come.
Time come, bro.
To protect our people who are not being served adequately by that. And we will use the legislation governing ganja to create a special ecosystem for the Rastafari community. And we want to economically empower the Rastafari community, and that is a matter close to my heart.
So that's
As
it.
the architect of the PNP's 2015 decriminalization of ganja. There are provisions in the law for regulations to be made to achieve that, and they're not being used.
You hear that?
Making change through social justice leads to a serious reconsideration of Jamaica's current place and standing in the world.
You hear that?
Mr. Speaker, our international policy position centers on the principle of being good neighbors to all while maintaining our sovereignty and independence. That guides our relationship with the global family of nations. We steadfastly maintain the right to exercise independent judgment and make independent decisions based on the principles that we embrace. We will continue to work towards strengthening our relationships with the global south, even as we maintain long-standing relationships with our traditional partners. Our trade with the African continent and its large and rapidly expanding economies remains very modest. The top 5 economies in terms of growth are South Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, Algeria, and Ethiopia. And we have long historical connections with the fast-growing economies of Ghana and Sierra Leone. There are therefore tremendous opportunities for us to build out new trade and investment linkages with Africa. Jamaica needs to stop dithering and ratify the historic $1.5 billion agreement between CARICOM and the African Exim Bank.
Wow. You need a big man to do that, not a boy. Only a big man, not a
We
boy.
are committed regionalists, so the dire situation in our close neighbor Haiti is of great concern to us.
Say more about
We commit ourselves fully to engagement in the regional efforts associated with that crisis
Haiti.
and to reasserting Jamaica's constructive leadership role within CARICOM that has been allowed to atrophy over the past few years. Progressive principled foreign policy delivers real positive change for our people. The Petro-Caribbean oil financing arrangement and the San Jose Accord, which financed Portmore, are striking examples of what a progressive principled foreign policy has done for our people in the past under the People's National Party.
Wow.
That is what we are committed to locally and globally. Mr. Speaker, change at the national level must focus on good governance. In this modern era of pervasive information sharing and communications, good governance is increasingly essential to maintain the people's trust and confidence in our democracy.
You like this now, you know?
Citizens are demanding that their leaders uphold the highest standards of accountability, transparency, and trustworthiness.
People, this is the time now the seat are gonna get wet where such man sit down. This is the time now such man glasses are gonna slip off her face because her peers sweat behind his ears. Because listen.
All the measures that I've outlined for implementation will only be possible if we change the approach to governance that now exists. I leave you with the ways, means, quality, and spirit of the change in governance that we commit to. And good governance isn't just a set of ideals. It is a foundation upon which an equitable and just society can be built. The People's National Party has always been committed to fulfilling these ideals, and we will translate these principles into tangible actions that uplift and empower every member of our society.
The hammer upon them, man.
Mr. Speaker, we are in an increasingly low trust environment. Since the JLP government came to office in 2016, no less than 8 ministers have been forced to resign or have been otherwise sanctioned for a range of serious breaches. And Jamaica continues to rank poorly on international corruption indices.
Hell broke loose now.
The move in 2020 to take away the chairmanship of most parliamentary committees from the opposition has weakened that mechanism of holding government to account.
People, I want to understand that this is how the hell broke loose. You say when I talk about everything, how to get there, but to get there, people, there is a process. There's a building of the foundation, setting it strong. This man wants to build prosperity for a rotten foundation, thieving foundation, corrupt foundation. Such man want to build prosperity on a rotten foundation, not no go so. Here the man is about to, you are the beautiful stuff we have for us people. None of that can be achieved with corruption. I am willing to get behind a good leader for the change of Jamaica. I am willing. So many of us in the diaspora are willing. If I drop a blood, they want me, cut me and I make you get it. We are willing to get behind a good, honest leader for transformation Jamaica, for different Jamaica, transform Jamaica. I am willing. I am so freaking willing, man, for change. I am willing. Willing people. They say if they want a drop of blood, me say me cut myself and give them blood. Anything to make Jamaica better. If I blood in the one, me give you no. Me give you my blood. I'm willing to get behind a good cause, a good leader, to lead the country to a better place. I am willing. I will. People, let's continue to listen. I just saw the background starting. You man talk all good all along. You go hear now when the man talk, the real things them way affect us from taking off. Like someone said in the comment section, you cannot put on dirty clothes on a clean clothes on dirty body. I may even tell you, say, when you put on deodorant on dirty body, it make you get worse. Make you listen.
The maneuvers to delay the tabling of reports from the Auditor General and the Integrity Commission remains a contentious matter, especially since the legal opinion on which this delay is purportedly based has been withheld from parliamentarians and the wider public. When the former speaker was forced to resign as a result of an Integrity Commission investigation, the move to replace her with the wife of the Prime Minister, so that the head of Parliament is now the spouse of the head of government, really does not sit well with the tradition that the Speaker must act of the day. The Speaker is intended to be independent and must act independently of the government today. That is the tradition. That is the tradition.
Hell broke loose. You see? I don't like it. You mash up.
Members.
See? See? Disturb the man presentation and Andrew behind there with no point. No respect. See? They are listening. So many people are listening. Yes. See them? So I want to shut them down, people. It's a game them are playing. They plan this.
The so-called illicit six.
Speak, brother. What the man say wrong? Such boy to go, man. No integrity. Such boy to go, man. You want respect and show respect.
The failure to disclose the identity of the so-called illicit six MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission.
How people them make the board get where in a park while board in a parliament. When shot while board up a wanna fling, brother.
At this time, there's by number.
For this grace. The labor artists wanna do. That the man who want to fight. What PSOJ? I look at young people from the Labour Right Party. One of them. When you look at young crowd, they shut off the mic, people. At this point, the mic turn off. So they thought they could shut down Mark Golding because they didn't. People, let me tell you something.
I will not continue in this. Some are asking members to be quiet. Thank you. Section 7 of the Standing Orders of the House of Representatives of Jamaica says the quorum of a house and of a committee of the whole house shall consist of 16 members beside the person presiding. If at any time during a sitting of the house objection is validly taken by any member that there is not a quorum present, the person presiding shall direct members to be summoned, and if at the end of 5 minutes a quorum be not present, he shall adjourn the house without question put. If at any time during a sitting of committee of the house and the house object, and I read section 2, subsection 2 of section 7, and as it stands, I am now summoning members to come on the inside of the chamber, and we will wait. We will wait for the 5 minutes.
Then I'll come back, people. They plan this, you know. People, listen, me take it from a Rastaman son, no, man. They don't just get up with this. They plan this. Anytime I talk about your taxes, they could get up and walk. They know them have the majority. They need 16 to continue. They have about 11 PNP in there. All of the Labour them walk out. The Labour them know what they are doing. And you know what he might do. Get up and walk out because he thought that would be the end of it. He still a go on. They might wait for the 5 minutes for the members to come back in. Then I'll come back in, people. And that was the end of, while we are waiting for hear the man finish speak. People all over the world, give them boy, 300% raise, you know. Walk out power, you know, power business, you know. That's why I said the PNP must not do this tomorrow. Don't walk out on the people's business. Mark Golding no better than that. Don't ever walk out on the people's business. This is the people's business. It's not your personal business because you feel small and feel hurt because the man talk about your wife. That's why your wife shouldn't be there in the first place. If a man brush the house speaker, you want to fight them in a parliament, your wife must be there, brother. Declare asset, brother. Who want to know what the 6, brother? Move your wife. Declare asset. Who are the 6? So in Belize said, can you see that? Dead. It's still on, people. It's still on. They are waiting for the Labour Right to come back in a parliament. A minimum of 16 with the House Speaker I take to continue with this. But they say the Labour Right, the PNP only have 11 people in there. So all of the Labour Right get up, following a crooked trail ahead. Such man is crooked, leading these little people like rats off the cliff. Anything that have anything to do with this man is going to go down. Your name are going to mess up. Look at all them little people work with him. You ever heard about no Glass Paul Brown? Have you ever heard about Glass Paul Brown before? Have you? Have we ever heard about Glass Paul Brown? Where was he at? Where he live? What did he do? If the man that asked me about Glass Paul Brown, if we know a man named Glass Paul Brown and what he do, we don't know him. The man over the electoral office. But because of corruption and itching your trail upon some cooking engine, it's like being around garbage, then you start smelling like one. Nigel Clark, when he just come in, everybody say, he could have been a prime minister one day, and I mean like that young man. Would you say the same thing now? It's the same thing. Hitch on a trailer to some corrupt trailer head. Hang around the garbage too long, you start to smell like garbage. So many others people going down. Reputation dragging at the mud behind this man. So many people. So for you guys who didn't see the rest of it, it's still a wait there, so. I wait now if he come back. 5 minutes is too long. So he never come back, people. He might think he'll come back in the last and say, boy, it's been, it's over. The meeting is adjourned. That's all them I come back and say, 5 minutes for wait for leave right there, come back, people. No, come back for the people who they work for. They don't want to come back because they want to shut off the truth. But let me stop this. They ain't coming back. No. But we have something to show you. Because this is what they didn't want to see. What happened after Mark Golding, them shut it down. They must shut down Mark Golding debate presentation, right? So them never expect Mark. It all grow up here balls, you see. I said, let me go out there, go talk to my people by the highways and the byways. Mark Golding did just that, my people. And for those of you who didn't see it, I'm going to play it for you. I was playing the audio a while ago. Let's start from the video. I'm going to show the video when it all started and show you when the man up on the roadside. You guys need to see all of this in the man. Them things need to be recorded.
The JLP government came to office in 2016. No less than 8 ministers have been forced to resign or been otherwise sanctioned for a range of serious breaches, and Jamaica continues to rank poorly on international corruption indices. The move in 2020 to take away the chairmanship of most parliamentary committees from the opposition has weakened that mechanism of holding government to account. The maneuvers to delay the tabling of reports from the Auditor General and the Integrity Commission remains a contentious matter, especially since the legal opinion on which this delay is purportedly based has been withheld from parliamentarians and the wider public. When the former speaker was forced to resign as a result of an Integrity Commission investigation, the move to replace her with the wife of the Prime Minister, so that the head of Parliament is now the spouse of the head of government, really does not sit well with the tradition that the Speaker must act independently
This moment,
of the government of the day.
they broke loose.
The Speaker is intended to be independent and must act independently of the government of the day. That is the tradition.
At this moment, that's boy.
You are going to people. People, they are bringing tuna, man. Let's continue.
Of the so-called illicit 6 MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment.
Give back.
The failure to disclose the identity of the so-called illicit 6 MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment. Member. At this time, there's my number.
A Babsy that. A Babsy that. You can't get in people like a Babsy go get the man, but let me look here, man. My Babsy and Tam Tavares attack up them things, but it's a one message me for them, man. But like wild boar escape people. so people, that's it. Now Parliament and so they run him out and all them thing then. Wild boar and the lose, so they never know say. But these people is when Mark Golding first went outside. Side of the road the man go finish his speech. He knows that the people must hear it. This is what they were preventing him from saying. Right now, these words, these lines, what he was saying is louder on the streets than it would be in Parliament. What they did is make one of the biggest political mistakes ever. Such man, and if the rest of them follow him. Yeah, man. Bad moving.
I don't have a microphone. But I'd like to finish my speech. I'm very near the end. I hope somebody will film this.
One second. We have any media here? Any media is here? Hold on, 1 second. We're going to get some media. Oh, you're the media.
The Prime Minister chose to walk out and was left the Parliament without a quorum. I think it's the first time this has happened in independent Jamaica. Not in a budget speech. The opposition has been denied the opportunity to finish their presentation. And here I am assembled on Duke Street. I was near the end anyway, but there were some important points that needed to be made. And I'm going to continue. The point I made when they walked out was this. When the former speaker was forced to resign as a result of an Integrity Commission investigation, the move to replace her with the wife of the Prime Minister, so that the head of Parliament is now the spouse of the head of government, does not sit well with the tradition that the speaker must act independently of the government of the day. That is a fundamental principle of the Westminster system of democracy. And it is protected in a number of ways. For example, in the United Kingdom, nobody runs against a speaker in an election. They make sure the speaker is elected because that person is supposed to be independent. So that, I think, that move to do what happened in our case here was inconsistent with that level of independence that's required. The failure to disclose the identity of the so-called illicit 6 MPs who are under investigation by the Integrity Commission for illicit enrichment remains a festering sore, only made worse by the Prime Minister's gag order on his own cabinet ministers from speaking publicly on matters to do with the Integrity Commission. The Prime Minister's statutory declarations of assets and liabilities and income have not been certified and published by the Integrity Commission for successive years. It is untenable for the head of government of Jamaica not to be in good standing with the country's Integrity Commission for a prolonged period. All I can say to him, and I would have said it to him if we were still in the house, all I can say, if I were in your position, I would take with myself and hand over to someone else who is not compromised.
People, when Mark Golding say, if I were him, I'll take myself and hand it over to somebody who's not compromised. Me just say, Prime Minister, resign, people. And when Mark Golding said that, I believe Mark Golding kind of figure out, say, him a part of the six, you know. The man, if move up, man, they take off an idiot. We don't want no fly and a raka. We don't want them type of character people around the country. Man, if move, Andrew Otis must resign. Andrew Otis should resign. Andrew Otis should resign, save the country. If him have any dignity and him love the people, love the country, he should resign. Rotten.
Jamaica's iconic global track superstar, the Honorable Usain Bolt, and many other innocent investors were carried down in the scandalous SSL fiasco. And we can't hear anything about charges being brought against the culprits. I have been told that the DPP's office is dragging their feet when there are a number of people that the Financial Investigations Division are seeking to bring charges against. In fact, in August last year, the Gleaner carried a report that from the FID that there were several persons that they were intending to move against with charges. That report is no longer on the Gleaner website, but I'm told that the DPP's office is dragging their feet on this. The Kroll forensic report, which has cost taxpayers millions of dollars, was delivered to the government months ago. It must be released to the public so we can see what the findings are. Jamaica will not accept a cover-up of this shameful debacle, which has tainted our country's reputation as a safe and well-regulated place for Jamaicans at home and abroad to save and invest. In fact, a commission of inquiry into this SSL scandal will be needed.
Will be needed. Real investigation, not like a fake crawl. Eh?
Taking away the rights of the people of Portmore without proper consultations with them, followed by a referendum to let them make the decision whether or not they want to give up their city municipality status and their right to directly elect their mayor, a right given to them by the People's National Party. Jamaica has spoken, and the PNP has listened to the concerns of the people. We are offering solutions based on thorough research and consultation with our stakeholders. We will embark on this journey together with the people towards a future where opportunity for advancement is not a privilege, but a right for all. We commit to good governance for the people of Jamaica, not as some abstract concept, but as a living promise fulfilled to every citizen of our nation. We are on a fast track on the road to change, and we invite all Jamaicans along this exciting journey in a spirit of hope for a better and brighter future for all our people. And I would have ended, thank you, Madam Speaker, but I won't be back in the Parliament.
Jaja, people, Jaja.
Corruption is a vile disease that sucks and drains the health out of something good. Corruption in society is an evil moral infection that keeps community in the state of perpetual sickness. Corruption is a moral virus. It's so potent it leaves its host sick, lethargic, and unable to realize and accomplish all that a well person can. Where corruption thrives, poverty and not prosperity thrives. Wealth is grabbed into the greedy, grubby hands of those who get fat on the toil and labor of good people. Corruption benefits, only temporarily, those who participate in it. Everyone else is a victim of the theft, the deceit, the dishonesty, and the lies that corruption feeds on. You need to know that a corrupt person is stealing from you. Corruption is filthy work and despicable acts of treachery done under the table and behind closed doors. Corruption is a disgusting shame. Corruption keeps a nation back from true development and from progress. Wise investors steer clear of a corrupt environment. They would rather put their resources into a place where the playing field of opportunity is equal for all and not bent towards feeding the financial lust of corrupt, lying, cheating, thieving politicians and government officials. How many wonderful development projects have been lost because the investors didn't want to do business in a swamp of evil? When those great projects go to another nation or to some other place, we all lose. Believe me when I tell you that corruption steals from you, it steals from all of us. Corruption plunders the nation's wealth. Corrupt people compromise on truth, equity, and fairness, choosing instead to feed off the short-term benefits of crookedness, exploitation, and financial perversion. Corruption is not just a personal matter. It's a culture. It's a way of life, not just for individual people, but for companies, communities, governments, and nations. Corrupt nations, hiding behind large companies, will seek to invest in other weak nations in order to take over the assets of the nation that they've invested into. They will provide financial loans to a nation for the much needed infrastructure, and they will do it with assets that they provide. They will sign contracts by lining the pockets of rotten government officials who participate in this kind of corruption and are then held hostage by their own deceit and greed. Corruption is nothing less than a form of theft and national robbery. A corrupt person steals from everyone in society.
People, I want you guys to know. Thank you guys for making it possible right here. Me and Uno watch a video. You understand me? Together, it has been almost 3.5 hours. Uno know Carlos video them not stay so long, even though me a chatterbox. But Uno know this thing set, guys. Just want you guys to share this. That's all the least we could do for our country. Is to share out them a thing. Share them out. Send them a road. That's all they can do for your country. That's the least we could do. And I'm asking, I'm willing to do anything for the positive movement of my country. Five and blood. Be dead serious. Anything for the positive movement. I'm a grand picnic them. Anything. We in the diaspora are ready. We are ready. We are ready to go stand up behind an honest leader. We are tired of criminals. And we guys realize that we overseas have seen politicians who got prison over here so for way less than what these guys getting away with. We are tired. So any semblance of change, we're going to get behind it. So me and Mark Golden talk like this. Let me tell you something, Mark Golden. Let me grab my 2x4 pan here, you know. You see all this time I tell you to come out and chat. Why you never come out and talk all them things? Just like this we talked a while ago. Mark Golden. Why you never come out? You know all these things for a long time. Why it take you to this debate of the talk, brother? You could have a press conference in your place and talk. How much time you tell you say you sit down on all the ammunition and the rock store them and you're afraid to come out, come talk? Did you know if we didn't know, say you know all of this and then we are pre for a long time? Such man could have talked about himself, ekes up with you in the election. You chop your own self by being lazy. Someone who call us this, look here, man. Stop playing around, man. My job is to make sure some country run right. And then I see Mark asleep. Never tell him. Never tell him, people. Get up. We're sitting on that cheaper, but Carlos, brother. I don't think to get weary. Get up and move. Walk a couple more miles, then you take a rest. Look what all the stuff Mark tell you a while ago. Look what all the shit Mark tell you a while ago. Why him never come out the whole time and talk with the people them? Like press conference, but not talk about when they got political campaign and appear nice and make. Why never come just talk to the people them? You done lost him in the election. You done lost him. But no, Mark Golding. The whole time that they are play quiet and sweet boy with such boy. And the first time people are hear this from you, you know. I know you're standing, you know. Mark Golding, at the first time Jamaica citizen, I hear some of them sit we are chatting. You know? Why take us so long to come out, come chat after election? Why you never do this before the election? You don't wipe them out. It's always too late to act. We're not going to tolerate that going forward, Mark Golding. We're not going to tolerate that going forward. It's just like we're energetic in that speech and you're fire. You get me up, bro. It's your energy we work on, you know? That's what I always say. Give me something to work with. Me always a bad. Me say, Mark Golding, give me something for work with. Are you energy we have for line, brother? We can't build that energy that is not really there. Are you energy we work off and the first time Jamaica see you with them type of... Me don't know if a Red Bull you drink till you got drink some Rastaman roots from Snagapus or some... the energy we see you with them. Keep it up. Because Jamaica need that type of energy. And if you really come out, come make Jamaica people know these things. But not talk about that. Come here talk in a conference, you know, when I go to a campaign. That was nice. You should have gone in the office, man. Go before the camera like this, man. And go at the laptop. And go talk to the people. Just so, Mark. Where you want to go on? Facebook, YouTube, do it by anything. I wrote it down. You don't need all the news media. Look here, I'm not saying that you must not use them. But to get the message out, you don't need mainstream media anymore. You hear some selector tell artists, say, artist boy, you don't need selector. If I'm a selector, you no food and the sound. Not go somewhere, that's the first time. The artist boy, they want to talk about have social media. They can stream their music themselves. Not when people come and dance on, but how many people on the internet. Some tell us all them talk, when them talk, don't work no more. People create these apps to make things different. King Jammies, all these studios back in the days. Even though it was good to pick out the best from the garbage. But with the advance of technology, people can build a studio at them yard and have to go Jammies door no more. And when you build a beat at home, you can invite it at home, you can publish it at home for yourself. You don't need nobody. We don't need no big name producer. We don't need no big name selector. The youths are pushing stuff out. They look at Nige Boy, or Nige Boy, the blind singer. What do you think boss him? Like seriously, what do you think boss that young man? Oh, selector. Who boss him? Social media people. Social media. We saw you, bro. Social media did it. Anyway, Mark Golding just can go before him laptop, brother, if you have anything to say. Put it on a desk, like I'm there before my laptop right now. On a desk. Talk to the people. You have people, just like you go on roadside, go talk, you know. Brother, if you have anything to say, turn on the camera, bro. From your laptop, you can go on many different platforms all at once, brother. Speaking it, let the people know you. What in your God can any hour. Jamaica, they know say at them way you feel about them. And at them thinking you have Mark Golding. On a serious note, such man get wiped out. You cut yourself short, bro. But anyway, thank you for such a wonderful speech. And the love we look like you have for black people and the people of Jamaica. You know? Enough love, man. Wait, ever say, boss a tune. A matter of fact, me I work on another tune, people. the next tune not gonna be nice, not gonna be easy. But I cut see away like a razor. Check it out.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again. What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Go be money, me say we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, them money, waste and bust a man to statue. Say we like a cash you, but bigger than a figure you. Take the spit of money, girl, and say that it's not you. One day the man above him, him a got up. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you. It burn me 300% free. It burn me garbage pile up the day. It burn me give the teacher them raise. It burn me I see corruption please. It burn me mash down the people them house. It burn me every day appear arms out. It burn me appear money them a thief. It burn me and them a sell out with each. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again.
People, thank you so much for watching this video. You know, a Jamaica will say, Andrew only say Mark Golding is desperate. Him right? The man is desperate for change. Him desperate for him and his wife to come out of office. Him desperate for the thief them to stop thief. Him desperate to lift up the country. Remember, Mark Golding's father was a humanitarian. So it's not too hard for Mark Golding to walk in the footsteps of his father. Mark Golding's father was a giver. You didn't know that? One day I'll do a video about Mark Golding's father on this here platform. Thank you guys so much. Go outside. Ivan Bradford, happy. I didn't think so. I don't know if I turn that in a meme. Go outside. The wild boar. We don't know the wild boar boring for a river and dump. We don't know they need to fence up. I mean, I know I go on the wild boar. People, I love you. Thank you so much for watching this video. All the new people, them, bless upon yourself. Make we don't stop sending up praises for Rachel Brown. Manners and respect, people. I love you guys. Jamaican Carlos. I'm out. Peace. Share my video, you know. Share out the hell out of it, man. If you love your country and want your country to change, share out the hell out of this, man. I love the people. I'm out.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. COVID money, me say we eat the yellow correct you. Use the youth, them on the base, and bust a man to statue. Say we like a catch you, but they got in a figure you. Take the spit of money, God and say that is not you. One day the man above him up, him a got up. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fly well like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% free.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption cease.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out with beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again.